Hey, this one's late. Sorry, everyone. Schedule kind of got away from me today. So we are having an afternoon delight, Nerdrotic Nooner. And everybody loves an afternoon delight, and everybody loves a nooner. Greetings, everybody. We got Josh Weston, Lance Elato. Let me in your house. Sure. Just be sure to knock. Bear Nerd Fun, and Charlwood. Canary Charlwood. Welcome. Mark Lazurth and his wrench. Greetings, my friend. Dan23, Aberjam UK, Stan Lee lives. What's up? Chuck Zilla, how's it going? I still have to get you that list, but I was working on it. And a name I cannot pronounce because it's Russian. At least Nerdrotic streams are shorter than EFAP. This is true, and it will be shorter than EFAP today. That's for sure. I've got much to do. Mrs. Nerdrotic is off tomorrow, so I had to get all my work done today. So tomorrow's video, which is done, which is basically what this live stream is about. Okay, so the news, I actually got it from Geeks and Gamers when Josiah dropped that video, and it completely derailed everything I was going to talk about today because I'm like, well, we got to talk about this instead. But I'll still talk about Lord of the Rings is actually going into production. That's good news. I like to give you some good news once in a while. And there's the Disney Little Mermaid thing. And okay, I'm not a Disney fan. I was never a Disney fan, to be honest with you. I like Disneyland, but I wasn't a fan of the animated. I'm a Warner Brothers animated guy. I like Bugs Bunny, Chuck Jones. So the musical animated stuff, just not my cup of coffee, if you know what I'm saying. But damn, the casting, that was funny. I got it. It's getting bad. It's getting crazy out there, and I'm trying to get ready for Comic-Con. So we're going to talk a little bit about Comic-Con too, and what I hopefully plan to do there. I have zero plans right now. I would like to do a meetup at a place called Lestats. I will get you guys the information today. Lestats does not know this, so it's not like I've cleared it with them. I'm only expecting a couple of people to show up, so you and I can have a couple of we can have some coffee and we can live stream. So if you want to meet me there on a Thursday night, 7 p.m., I'll get you the address. I'm sure they'll love that I'm blasting it out on the internet right now, but hey, we're all just people here. It's Mage Grey Wolf, Punk Star, Adam Bernard. Is it Bernass? I'm sorry, Movie Maniac, and Matelio, and Captain Robert April is here. How are you, sir? How's it going? All right, so we'll let some people roll in, but you guys heard the news. I always was under the impression that Brie Larson had a 7-picture deal, and we're 2 pictures in. So that means we have 5 more. So it seems to make sense. This looks like it's confirmation, but it's coming from the Access Media. So I don't know. But it comes from the bastion of journalism, which is comicbook.com. And we got this covered, and cleveland.com, I believe, is reporting on it too. The great cleveland.com. I often go to that website. And hello, Fandom Menace. By the way, again, you guys are amazing. What can I say? Rallying around Anna, and it's been tough times. And Jeremy has been burning the candle at both ends, trying to keep Geeks and Gamers going and doing everything he's doing. So everybody, be sure to show Jeremy your love, because he's been working his ass off, as he always does, and he is brilliant. So let me get this article up here. And that didn't work. Let's try opening a new window. There we go. We can always open a new window. I have really got to clear up my bookmarks. There we go. So, goodbye MCU, by the way. It was nice knowing you. And we all kind of knew this anyway. Law of diminishing returns was about to kick in anyway, but they're taking something. Oh God, I don't want to show this ad. They're taking something that could have lasted another, I don't know about 10 years, but 5 years, and they're going to drive it into the ground. So 5 more Captain Marvel. Now, it's not going to be 5 more Captain Marvel films, but 5 films Captain Marvel is going to be in. That's easy another 5, 6, 7 years, maybe. So yeah. Um, and what do we have to look forward to? J.J. Abrams DCEU? I don't know. The Sandman series was just announced, and while I was very happy Neil Gaiman's going to be involved, David Goyer's involved as well. So it's just a bunch of bad news. That's why we want to talk about some good news. With hopefully the Lord of the Rings show will be good. Here we go. Brie Larson's Marvel Cinematic Universe debut, Captain Marvel, made waves when it hit the box office. And according to a new rumor, we might be in for quite a few more appearances from Larson's Carol Danvers in the MCU. According to the report from We Got This Covered, Larson is set to appear in at least 5 more MCU movies before her contract with Marvel Studios is up. Now, this is not confirmed by Larson or Marvel, so take it with a grain of salt for now, as an earlier report suggested she was signed for a 7-picture deal with Marvel, but that was eventually shot down by Larson herself. Larson has so far appeared in a solo debut and Avengers Endgame. Up next would presumably be a full-on Captain Marvel sequel at some point in Phase 4. Though she could always show up in another film like The Eternals or Guardians of the no. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. I don't think so, since those deal with more cosmic adventures and concepts. And if any of you have seen Spider-Man Far From Home, do not invoke her name. And if that doesn't happen, which we pray it won't, she'll probably be seen in a sequel, though if that's the case, there is some mystery regarding when the sequel will take place. Will it be set in the past once more, or God, they would probably do that, wouldn't they? Or would it be in the present after Endgame? There was plenty of unfinished business as the first film came to an end. Yeah, like a plot, a character arc, characterization. Yeah, lots of unfinished business. As she was going to help the Skrulls find a new home and take down the Kree Empire. What a waste of the Skrulls. What a waste. That's plenty to fill another film in the past, though it could also be set after Endgame, as Carol perhaps follows up on the status of the Skrulls after everything that happened with Thanos. You could then move the Skrulls from the background into the forefront, with Thanos now vacating the main villain spot. And who knows, perhaps this could be the next big step towards an eventual secret invasion storyline. We imagine she'll also be up in whatever the next Avengers film will be. It will feature a mostly new lineup of heroes after Endgame brought Iron Man, Black Widow, and Steve Rogers storylines to a close. And she's a natural to fit the lead in their absence. Whether or not the deal for 5 movies or 20, we can't wait to see Larson and Captain Marvel return to action on screen. And we hope the hero's around for a long time. Are you excited for more Captain Marvel? No. Let us know in the comments. Oh, are the comments open? There's 11 comments. There's probably, let's see what they say here. No, replace her. The actress is so annoying. God, there's some sanity left in the world. Yeah, they're probably all, is that all the comments? Is that all the comments? Yeah, that's all. That's it. That's it. So I'll get this out of here. Nerdrotic, talk about Shazam. Is it worth the money? By the way, I prefer Melissa Benoist's Supergirl over Brie Larson's Captain Marvel, because I can't pronounce her name. Benoist is actually a likable actress. John Early, I am not a fan of Supergirl. I think Supergirl and Captain Marvel are kind of the same thing. Yeah, she like when you're talking about in interviews and stuff, yeah, she's way more charming than Brie Larson. I'll give you that. I will definitely give you that. I usually don't have to worry about ad blocker because I have a Mac, but I don't. Because when you install an ad blocker and then you go live on Hangouts, it sometimes causes problems. Sometimes. But I will when I get a PC. That is for sure. That is for sure. But yeah, not exactly the biggest Supergirl fan in the world. Okay, Sir Ruin of House Roundhead for $10. What would you think of a Game of Thrones prequel about Aegon the Conqueror? I personally would love to see Tom Hiddleston as Aegon, Emily Blunt as Visenya, and Elizabeth Olsen as Rhaenys. That's good casting right there. That's good casting. I don't know about Tom Hiddleston. He'd be a good Aegon, and well, he can yoke up. He yoked up for the Thor role. That would be that'd be very interesting. I think that's pretty good casting right there. I would love to see that too. I would love to see Robert's Rebellion. And I'm not entirely against where they are in the prequel right now, but I just know what we're going to get. We're not going to get true Game of Thrones lore. We're going to get a modern interpretation of some of George's work. I don't know how involved he is in this one, and I don't know if we're getting 5 prequels either. I highly doubt it. Art Fusco for $5. Just saw Far From Home and thought it was fun. The area around Lestats has some bad parking, but I hope to see you there. It does, except in the evening. If we meet in the evening, the parking's not so bad. And if we meet on a Thursday night, it's not so bad. But you got to understand that I live in San Francisco, and bad parking in San Diego is, come on, please. That's glorious parking compared to what we have here. Payola RL for £5. I tweeted you a picture I took here in London. It's the TARDIS they're going to use for the next Doctor Who season. You're going to love it. Let's go look at it. Let's go look at it. Give me a second here. I'm looking for it now. Good God. Let me search for it, and I will talk while I search for it. Good afternoon to you, Super Mega Gamer 01. It's good to see you, and welcome everybody. So this one's late, and I'm sorry. I've been just really, it's been crazy. It's been crazy around the house. Good crazy, a very good crazy. But here, let me search it out, Payola. I will see if I can find that tweet. And as soon as I can, I will bring it up. Oh God, I'm probably going to hate it. Is it going to be a rainbow TARDIS? Yeah. Doctor Who sucks. PC nonsense, says Old Man Winter. Yep. You got that right. It is no longer the show that I used to love. It is pretty dead to me. I don't think there's any chance of it turning around and getting better at any time within my lifetime, considering the BBC. So I am just enjoying old Doctor Who and watching a lot of old TV, watching a lot of Buffy lately. Will Doctor Who be worth watching again, Patrick? No. No. They are going to double, triple, quadruple down, as they are with the MCU right now, on absolutely everything. And yeah, the PC nonsense has gotten to a level which is utterly, utterly ridiculous. I don't even know. I keep thinking maybe we're at the end. Maybe this is it. And then things get a little more ridiculous. 5 picture deals for Brie Larson, which again was expected. They're even renewing. So they renewed Winona Earp, and they're going to give it a 4th season. I was looking at the ratings for that show, and like it got a 0.19 in the 18 to 49 demographic. Like that was his average. How does that show stay on the air and The Expanse get canceled? I really don't understand. And don't forget to hit that like button for sure. But yeah, I got to admit that the events of the last week kind of threw me off my game a little bit. And I think it threw a lot of people off their game a little bit, which is completely understandable. But there you are. There you are. I found you. So let's go. And you tweeted it at Here we go. Was it earlier today? Bump, 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 bump. Nope. Oh. Yes. There's the new TARDIS, everybody. Dr. Pooh. Dr. Pooh. I got to put a, hang on. I got to give that tweet some love. There we go. Boom. Yes. That is hilarious. And it makes a lot of sense. It makes a lot of sense. Yes, Dr. Pooh. And that's where we are. I will not be watching any MCU movies with Plank Bieber. With Plank Bieber. Yes. I'm like, yeah, I'm trying to consider whether I'm going to even review these films. Do I even want to put myself through that? I really don't. I really, yeah, it's going to be easy to troll. And as a YouTuber, I mean, we got to rejoice. We just got a 5-picture deal. That means guaranteed content for, 5 years at least. And that's hard to come by here on YouTube, to be honest with you. So honestly, it's great for that. Other than that, though, very discouraging for the MCU. And I don't really the movie made money. It made a lot of money, and they're just looking at the bottom line. So when you're looking at things like that, of course, they're going to come out with more. Have you seen the Space Marine Astartes YouTube shorts? Might want to save them for EFAP. 5 minutes is all in all of art. 5 minutes all in all of art. We'll see if I get to do another. I got to get invited to another EFAP, but I would love to do one. But I got to set aside a day for that too. I got to set aside some serious time for that. But a lot of planning going into Comic-Con here, and I'm going to make sure that I am at the Star Trek Discovery panel. There's a lot of stuff to go here. So yeah, RIP Marvel 2019. It was a good run. It was a very good run. We'll say that. I don't know how many you guys and gals saw Spider-Man out there. Alita comes out on digital on the 11th and the Blu-ray the 23rd. It follows the classic hero's journey. Please promote the hell out of it, as it's all we have left. It says Jedi Knight and friend to Alita. Yes, I will, and I'm going to be buying it. I think I heard Odin say there's going to be, if there's a steel box for that, I will buy it. And I will put it in my collection. I can't wait to get it. And Alita, it was a good movie. It was fun. I mean, did it reinvent the wheel? No, but it was better than Captain Marvel for sure. Absolutely, for sure. I'm trying to keep up with the chat here. Golly. And that's hard. And we had a $2 super chat that was retracted. I am so sorry, but that YouTube sometimes does that. YouTube sometimes pulls it because they're kind of picky about their language. They're really picky about their language. Is this the end of Hangouts going to affect the Exozone? Please say no. Amberjam UK, no, it's not. Actually, I meant to do that. I was going to tweet YouTube or Team YouTube and ask them, is there going to be no replacement? Are we just going to not talk about this? And that's YouTube's typical thing to do. This is a big deal. Most of the live streams, as a matter of fact, the vast majority of live streams I go to use Hangouts, have multiple people. They aren't like rich. It's usually like kids who don't have a bunch of money for software. I guess I'm going to have to get software. I mean, I have OBS, but to use OBS or any kind of software, it's forcing me to buy another computer. I am cheap when it comes to anything other than an action figure. So yeah, I'm going to be buying a new computer over the weekend. And we're going to get that set up, and Exozone and everything, and Inquisition will be fine. It'll be fine, but we got to get others set up as well. But I don't know what I'm going to use yet. I was thinking about Wirecast because I've kind of used that a little bit in the past, and I'm familiar with it. But it might just be OBS because, again, I'm cheap. Yeah, that Umbrella guy uses it. Doomcock uses it. Most people use it. I mean, I'm okay on a solo live stream. That's fine, but I like to bring people in. Exozone is fun, Liberty Geeks. Thank you very much. Jizzy Jiff for $1. Thank you for the $1 donation. I greatly appreciate it. Help keeps the lights on around here. No, there's nothing wrong with OBS at all. There's many things wrong with my Mac when it comes to OBS. That is for sure. My hopes lie on Batwoman. That's funny. Run amok. Yes, my hopes do too. I will be covering every episode, but very in jest. Game of Thrones, The Journey Ends montage. Check it out. It's amazing. I will. I'm thinking about going to that panel, but I don't really want to go troll Dan and Dave, to be honest with you. I'd much rather troll Star Trek Discovery. But the problem is, if you go in and cause trouble in any of those panels, they ban you for life. And it's better to live and fight another day. Live action Little Mermaid. Again, they replace a redhead with a person of color. Redhead. Gingerside. That's what we're calling it, Patrick Lee. It's Gingerside. Thank you, Chris Mayer, for the $1 super chat. I greatly appreciate the donation. Thank you very much. If you want to put in a comment in here, go right ahead. From Hellheart. Oh, I will. I'll do that right now. He said, Gary, Google new TARDIS interior. Is it from season Have they changed it from last season? Because last season was pretty awful. You can get $12 off the new Doctor Who. I'm trying to see how old this is. I don't see it. Somebody, yeah, I don't know if there's a new image of that or not. Let me take a look. Yeah, I don't see, what? That could not be it. No, that's not it. Okay, good. Because that would be pretty bad. Yeah, because I don't have time to have my son build a computer. I got to kind of move on it right now. But he's going to be in town tomorrow, so if he can put one together fast, then we'll do it. Can you sum up why the media seem to hate Alita? I don't get it. It's because we like it. 1989 Jim Bob. There is a not so quiet battle going on between YouTubers and Access Media because we are competition for them, although we don't need to be. It'd be very easy for these media outlets to come and start YouTube channels, but there's a reason they can't. There's a reason why big Twitter stars don't come over and try, especially the blue check marks, don't come over and try to come on YouTube and do live streams, because you can jump in and out with 140 characters or 240 characters, whatever it is, and make your little straw man statement and jump out. But to back it up with actual thought and reason after that and talk for hours about it, they're just not capable of that. So they're basically capable of writing headlines and not having anything to back it up. And that's what the Access Media has turned into as well. I mean, just look at that article I just read you. That is from another article that they basically copy and pasted, reworded, cited meaning they cited where the original article came up, and they call it their own. And then this person goes online, whoever wrote that, and calls themselves a journalist. And they're just not. They're a copy and paster. Sorry. Write your own original material. Don't do listicles. Don't copy and paste a Deadline article or something from We Got This Covered, which is another site that does the same damn thing. The reason I don't go to We Got This Covered is because it's just a ridiculous website. It's got, it always makes you click through stuff, and I hate it. Jedi Sage Monk for Australian $5. Goodbye, MCU. It was nice knowing you. Exactly. And Paul Lee, thank you for the $2 super chat. I greatly appreciate it. And V, thank you for the 99 cents. I greatly appreciate it. OH Snap Page says, oh my God, is J.J. Abrams really getting his hands on an MCU film? No, he's getting his hands on a comic book. Double down on Recipe for Failure, Disney. No, he's getting his hands on the DC universe, which is worse. But he's got his son sending him a terrible message, by the way. He pulled some strings and got his son to write a Spider-Man comic. 5 movies at $15 per ticket on IMAX. My wallet's going to be so full. Thanks, Disney, Marvel. Exactly. Russian bot, not number 80085. Movie Maniac with 400 Huffington Post. Please don't compare Brie to Wood. It hurts the Ents. It does. The Ents do not deserve this. Why would we do such harm to the Ents? They're beautiful creatures. And they tell us, yeah, they have poetry. And they sound like John Rhys Davies. They do. V, $1.99. Please don't sell out, Gary. Stay true to fans. Oh, I'm not going to sell out. I am talking to a sponsor, but as long as the sponsor understands that I am not going to change a damn word I'm going to say. And I've already turned down a couple of sponsors. Just outright. So, yeah. I mean, look, it's not smart to turn down a revenue stream at all, especially in the weird times of YouTube. But yeah, I can't make any compromises, especially for something that's, I mean, no, I'm fine right now. And we take it day by day. Matt Joseph. Hey, Gary, I gave Doomcock excuse me. I gave Doomcock a digital code for Dread Last Inquisition. Only fair to give you one. How about Shin Godzilla for Voodoo? I'll take it. Yes, please. I want to see that. I've heard very good things. And I hope Doomcock watched Dread because I love Dread. As a matter of fact, just talking about it makes me want to watch it right now. So, Matt, of course, thank you for the $5. And yes, I will not turn down such a kind offer. Thank you. Wakazashi for 200 yen. Thanks for waking me up to the Expanse. Love it. You're welcome. And we are going to be getting for sure some Expanse news in a couple short weeks. So I have been dying to bring you some Expanse news, something. So it looks like a lot of the news I'll be bringing from Comic-Con will be about the Expanse. And that is a good thing. And The Boys, too. I don't know if you guys know about The Boys. It's an Amazon Prime series co-created by a friend of mine. And it looks pretty good. I saw the first episode. Looks pretty good. All Out of Bubblegum. Is that you with that Devil May Care Mary Sue superhero costume? That's me. I'm still here, Matt. I'm still here, matter what, sir. No matter your gender. Somebody made that. I am very much against putting my face on thumbnails. It's not something, unless it's a joke like that, I will never do it. And yeah, somebody made that for me. I thought it was pretty funny. So I've used it for my Brie live streams. I always use that. I even made here. I'll show you the thumbnail I made for today, which is going to be stuff I'm going to be talking about probably Friday now. So this will probably turn into the Friday thumbnail. But here we go. This was supposed to be today's thumbnail. So we'll use that one Friday. Man, I need to take a drink. Hang on. One moment. All right. Okay. Much better. Yeah. So I was going to talk about, and we'll talk about the Lord of the Rings going into production in a little bit. But the only thing, I'm surprised we haven't heard a Captain Marvel sequel being announced sooner. I know these things take time, but usually, I know Marvel takes time, and we'll find out probably around D23 or maybe even, maybe a Comic-Con. I'm not sure. It depends on there. I don't think there's any MCU panels. I can't remember, but there's so many Marvel things going on that they could announce it there. I'm not looking forward to it. I don't want it to happen. Brie Larson has been a disaster, a PR disaster. She again has through Marvel. It's not all her fault, by the way. Marvel's making a deliberate decision to choose a side and be partisan with their entertainment. And I, and now they're at least admitting it. They're coming out and admitting it, and it's just going to get worse probably prior to 2020. But I think people are getting sick of it, and we're seeing ratings drops. I'm sure Spider-Man's making tons of money, but again, I will point out I was in an empty theater. Maybe it was just the time. I don't know, but I was in a very empty theater. I know some people like Spider. I thought Spider-Man was okay. I thought Spider-Man was like a 6 or 7 out of 10. It was definitely better than Homecoming in a lot of ways. Yes, Muggles Cake Sniffer. There is a Lord of the Rings, and it's going into production. It's an Amazon Prime TV show, and there is a lot of things about that though that are not well, especially with the deal that was made for Amazon. Is they made the $1 billion or $1.5 billion deal to get the rights to Lord of the Rings, and they have to produce the show. They have to start producing the show within a certain amount of time, or the rights will revert back to the Tolkien estate, and they get to keep the money. And they are running out of time, so that's why we even brought it up on Friday night, where we brought it up like, hey, we haven't heard any casting or anything on this, and they need to get going or they lose it. But it looks like we have a director. We have a director for Lord of the Rings. Right there. So, I mean, once you hear this director's work, I don't know how excited you're going to get, but it's TV. It's different. So we will see. Exclusive Amazon Studios high profile, the Lord of the Rings TV series has made a key hire. Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom director Juan Antonio Y.A. Bayona has been tapped to direct the first 2 episodes of the big scope fantasy drama, following in the footsteps of Peter Jackson, who directed the feature adaptation of the classic J.R.R. Tolkien series. Set in Middle-earth, the series will explore new storylines preceding Tolkien's The Fellowship of the Ring. J.R.R. Tolkien created one of the most extraordinarily and inspiring stories of all time, and as a lifelong fan, it is an honor and a joy to join the amazing team, said Bayona. I can't wait to take audiences around the world to Middle-earth and have them discover the wonders of the Second Age we've never seen, with a never before seen story. Bayona also will executive produce alongside his producing partner, Belen Atenza. Now, there's some horrible news about this that I'm just going to jump to right now. And I found this out when I was doing my Patreon live stream this morning. So the showrunners are a couple of gentlemen named Payne and McKay. And I think it's J.A. Payne, right? Let's get his name here. Yeah. I'm getting his name here because, yeah, here we go. So I'm going to pull up his IMDb here in just a second, and this will go along with something we have been saying for some time here. Un momento. So we've been talking a lot about J.J. Abrams and his takeover of Hollywood, right? And how it's like really crazy that he's got people everywhere on every franchise. Well, if I can learn how to spell, here we go. Turns out that he's got connections to the Lord of the Rings series. Yeah, and it really sucks. Once I find these writers here, Simon Pegg, it's John D. Payne. I got that wrong. So this is the co-showrunner of Lord of the Rings, and just look at his prior work. Frackin' Star Trek Beyond. And they were going to be writing the Star Trek 4 before that got sidelined because Paramount couldn't find any investors. And it looks like they're doing a Flash Gordon movie too. That's kind of interesting. But yes, we have the J.J. Abrams connection to Lord of the Rings. So there's a J.J. Abrams loose connection to American Gods, to Westworld, to now Warner Brothers, of course. And we have a J.J. connection in, of course, Star Trek, in Star Wars. I mean, what the hell is left? Yeah, dive. Oh man. Did you I got to show you guys this. I was so excited to see this. If you're an action figure fan, you got to bear with me on this one. We've got some Flash Gordon action figures coming. So this is Big Chief Studios. Look at that Ming. Oh, that looks so good. Yes. So if you can get a Flash Gordon and a Ming special offer pre-order for £459.98, which is that's a lot of scratch. But look at that Ming. That is fucking awesome. So yeah. I told Mrs. Nerdrotic I want that for Christmas. And I love Flash Gordon. I know it's a terrible film, but I love it to death. So if we go on further, we're thrilled to have J.A. and Bellin joining the fellowship as we continue to develop the epic series, said Payne and McKay. We have been great admirers of Jay's work over the years, and I know that his epic, cinematic, and deeply heartfelt aesthetic is perfect sensibility to bring to Middle Earth, to bring Middle Earth life anew. And I promise you this, if they make Lord of the Rings woke, listen, we're trying to make a good show and we failed at making a good show. I'm not going to get on them for that. If you try to make something good, you put every effort into it and it just doesn't land, and there's no distractions like Star Wars or anything. I'll still criticize it, but I'm not going to get on them. If they make Lord of the Rings woke, like pretty much everything else is in the last couple of years, I'm going to dedicate my entire channel to it. I will dedicate every goddamn video will be about this show. And if I'm the only one watching these videos, so be it. I don't care because I'll be pissed. They already make Lord of the Rings woke with the two Shadows of Mordor games. Handsome Orc. I like that name. I have not played those games. I will take your word for it, though. And I'm not surprised. Case says, those are awesome Flash Gordon figures. As for the film being terrible, wasn't it intentionally kitschy? Yeah. I mean it terrible in a way. I don't know. It just doesn't stand well over the test of time, but it holds such a special place in my heart when it came out when I was a kid. I loved it to death. Loved the soundtrack, loved everything about it. But if you look at that movie and you look that it was made right around the same time as Empire Strikes Back, yeah, it looks like a movie made in the early 70s. It looks like, again, that's nothing against it. I love it. Oh God, I wish I could do a retro review on it. Maybe I will on the other channel. Let's get to Stephanie Littlepage. Yeah, greetings from the Walking Wounded. I have not heard from you in a while. I hope you are doing okay. Thank you for the $2. And yeah, it's good to hear from you again, Stephanie. You take care of yourself, okay? We've got a lot of Walking Wounded out there. Another thing I need to bring up is Snowdub Entertainment and Megs. So Megs is recovering. She's a member of the Fandom Menace. She is an amazing person who announced she was going to have brain surgery with a smile on her face, with a sly little smile. And she is recovering and hopefully doing much better. And as soon as she is better, I want to get her and Snowdub on this channel so we can live stream. So, get better, get healed, and we'll bring you on. And we can do as long a live stream as you like on whatever subject you like. Because I'm just glad she made it through surgery. Needed some good news this week. Really did. Vienna Wells for 10 pounds. Juan Antonio Bayona is a great director from my country, Spain, with the Orphanage and The Impossible, but not sure if he is up to the task. Television's different, and it depends on like his resources, and this is where you find out where a good director is, because it depends on his resources and how good he is at planning and delegating. So yeah, we'll find out. But The Orphanage, definitely cool, Vienna. So listen, it could be worse. The Game of Thrones prequel, that's bad news. And I like Jane Goldman. I think Jane Goldman has done some good work. She worked on Kingsman. That was fine. But again, we're talking Game of Thrones. This is a completely different beast. And S.J. Clarkson's directing, and she was supposed to direct Star Trek 4. So again, there's that JJ connection right there. Not a complete connection, but yeah, it's out there. JJ is spreading like a disease through Hollywood. OH Snappage for $1.99. Thanks, Gary. Top 5 best Marvel films. Man, you want me to rattle them? Okay, are we talking MCU or Marvel films? Let's go Marvel films, shall we? We'll go Marvel films. Number 1, Spider-Man 2. Obviously, Spider-Man 2 is the gold standard of superhero movies to me, except for the Dawn of Superman, which is the gold standard. So we got Spider-Man 2. It really depends. I go back and forth, but we'll say Guardians of the Galaxy, Winter Soldier, Avengers, and Iron Man. But my order changes once in a while. But those are it. And 2 of those movies are pre-Disney. I know Avengers was after the sale, but they didn't have a lot to do with producing that film. And honestly, if you think about Disney's reign in the MCU and you take away phase 1, and I know people are down on phase 1. I freaking love phase 1. I even like the Hulk movie. I know it's not perfect, but I like the Hulk movie, and I love the first Thor movie. I think it's great. I thought Kenneth Branagh did a good job. But those are my top 5 Marvel movies. I'm trying to think, I want to fit Blade in there somewhere. Can I say Blade is number 6? Because I love Blade. Dean Heiss for $5. Hail, Gary, just jumping in. Did you already talk about Little Mermaid Ariel being blackwashed? No, I haven't. I'm going to get to that. You know what? There was a time where I would have steered clear of that subject, because there was a time, and there still is a time, where you're not allowed to criticize that. And I think it's important that we do openly criticize that. And it's not because we don't like black people. Okay. It's obvious for that. I would feel the same way if they did something like that to Blade. Certainly you want to cast different people in different roles, but just create new ones. And Disney, that casting is, for one, the young lady who got cast in the role, nothing against her. She was offered a job with a lot of money. She took it, of course. I don't know. I don't know what they expect to get out of this film, unless it's just a quick cash grab and they just don't care about, looking like the source material, the quality of it. But I felt the same way about Valkyrie. And I was called all kinds of things, but I don't care. I don't really care. I know what's in my heart, and that's all that matters. Cardinal Sin, $9.99. No one asked for a new Lord of the Rings series. I like Flash Gordon just fine. No one asked for a new Flash Gordon. Come up with your own idea for a change. Thanks, Hollywood. Yeah. The only thing I'd be down with if they did a Flash Gordon, if they did a true Flash Gordon, like they adapt it, like you pull it right out of the comic strips, and make it like, because you can make it a modern retro. That would be cool as hell. Something kind of like Sky Captain, the concept of Sky Captain and the World Tomorrow, which I do like that movie, but mainly for its style, not really much for its substance. That's a great example of something that was big at Comic-Con that's not big in the rest of the world. There have been huge Comic-Con hits that have flopped massively. Sky Captain is one of them. Snakes on a Plane. Serenity. I love Serenity. Serenity is one of my favorite all-time movies. And if you saw the crowd at Comic-Con, you would have thought it would be the biggest movie in the world, and it wasn't. And yeah, Thor 2 is my worst film of all time. Horrid film, says Chris Cringe, for a £1.99. Really? Thor 2 is not great, but is it the worst? Nah, Captain Marvel's way worse than Thor 2. I'd rather watch Thor 2 than Captain. I mean, at least Christopher Eccleston is there being miserable. I heard Christopher Eccleston, somebody tweeted at me that he's charging for autographs. Come on, dude. I can kind of get it, but it's how much he's charging. It's like $200 or $300 for a picture with them, $100 for an autograph. Well, Mark Hamill was doing that 10 years ago here at WonderCon. I know, because I paid $100 for my oldest son to get a signature with him. Baptist 702. If the MCU, by the way, Cardinalson, thank you for the $9.99. Dean Heist, thank you for the $5. Oh, Snappage for the $1.99. I greatly appreciate it. And Baptist 702, $5. If the MCU stuck with the canon characters and comic stories, they would have done significantly better. Yes, and they still would, but they don't want to. They can, but Disney doesn't want to, because they want to make Disney Marvel. They want to completely separate themselves from the Marvel that was successful, the Marvel they purchased, and the Marvel we know and love. And a lot of us are just waking up to that. And it's not going to last. It's Disney's Marvel has an expiration date, where Marvel did not for many decades, but it does now. And I don't think there's going to be an entire generation that's going to hate this stuff, because it's just the natural progression of things. It's why we had punk rock right after we had the hippie movement. It was a direct result of the hippie movement. Yeah, so we'll get something like that. There'll be a whole group of people who hate superhero films, and I don't want that. But if you make them this bad and this cheesy, that's what's going to happen. William Winters, $2. Greetings from my wife and baby. Look at you, Pops. And back to you, Sir William. I know you named the baby after me, right? Nerdrotic. I think that's a good name for a kid. It's unisex. Or at least the middle name. Yeah, you should do that. Just kidding. Linus Midora. I don't want to. You give me a super chat. I don't want to mess up your last name. Linus Midoriya for $2. Don't know if you skipped me, but here's $2 more. Were you the one that got retracted earlier? Unless I did miss it, and if I did, I'm sorry. Hang on, I'm going to go back up. So we had Sir Ruin of Roundhouse give us $10. Thank you. Then we had a message retracted at 4:08 p.m. for £2. Was that it? No, because you're giving $2. So yeah, let me go check. I'm sorry if we're going back. Oh, you know what? There's a bunch up here. Dun, dun, dun. V tells me not to sell out. I won't sell out. I promise. That's weird. We had Nikki D for $4.99. Since Captain Marvel comic book sales are so poor, will the character be rebooted again? Oh, you know it, Nikki. You absolutely know it. And, we'll take a look at those comic sales in a little bit. Why don't we do that? Why don't we go over and look at the world famous Captain Marvel? We shall not invoke her name, Captain Marvel, and take a look at some of those wonderful comic book sales. Thank you, Nikki D, for the $4.99. Okay, Linus, I found you. My bad. Thoughts on My Hero Academia? I binged season 3 last month and I enjoyed it all. All Might is better superhero than Captain Marvel by far. I have not watched it. I have heard of it since I was in the comic book shop days. People were loving it. I can say that Nerdrotic Jr. loves it, and it's something I eventually will watch once they invent the 28-hour day. No, I'm going to watch it. And thank you, Linus. Sorry I missed that. Thank you for the $5. I do greatly appreciate it. But I've heard nothing but good things, and it's not woke, and it's pretty good. It's like the X-Men a little bit. I know the concept of it. And listen, the future of superheroes, and I can't even believe I'm saying this, but is going to be probably manga. It's probably going to be manga. I don't know about the American comic book anymore, which sucks because I like the traditional American comic book. But thanks again, Linus. I appreciate it. Shia Storm Dragon, thank you for the $10 and no comment. Well, throw in a comment in the chat or something. Thank you, Shia. I greatly appreciate it. Give me just a second here and I will. There was something else I wanted to pull up. Oh yeah. We'll go to Comic-Con. Now, these are just going to be sales, and I'm sure if you watch your boy Zach or that Umbrella guy, they've done this. So these are just sales to comic shops. These are not sales to actual people. Let's go to, let's see. I don't know. I'm sure Captain Marvel came out this month. Oh, man, look at that. Sorry, I get sidetracked very easily. Wow, do you want to go look at the June 1989 Capitol sales charts? I kind of do, but I don't want to bore you guys. That's something I'll do on my own. We've got to go to monthly comic sales. Here we go. Monthly comic sales. And we are going to go to 2019 and we are in July. So let's go back 1 month. Well, let's go all the way back to February because I think that's when Captain Marvel #1 came out. Yeah, good guess. Oh, I think it was January. Hang on, let me go back. I think it was January. Yep, there it is, right there. So Captain Marvel in January was the #2 comic book in the nation, selling 111,391 comics to retailers with, I believe, I'm going to be wrong on this one, but I'm in the ballpark. I think it's 21, 22, 23 variants. If you're not familiar with the variant cover, it's just a different cover. So it's people buying the same product, the same story multiple times because you're a completist, you're a collector. Keeping that in mind, it sold a very impressive 111,391 copies prior to a movie coming out, but these are completely padded numbers. Now, I don't have confirmation that they include the overships in this number. I don't know that for a fact. Overships were happening. Overship is when Marvel decides to send me 10 more copies than I asked for. They don't charge me for it, but I do get charged shipping. It's a minimal fee, but it's something I didn't ask for. And for somebody, who budgets, if you're the kind of person who budgets to the penny, it's annoying. Now, I wasn't that kind of person, so whatever. I ended up sending a lot of them back though, but I don't think that number is included there. I've never gotten word on that. So let's go to issue #2. Let's see how much this super popular character, how much it sold. Oh, wait, it's not in the top 5. Where'd it go? It was #2 and #1 in dollars sold. Where did it go? Maybe it didn't come out. Maybe it didn't come out. There's Cap. Oh, it did come out. Oh, in the second week, it dropped to number 42 with 37,380 comics sold to retailers. Now, I don't know. I bet you there was a variant cover for number 2. There probably was just 1 or 2. But so when they add those variants, what actually sells to customers, what customers, my best estimate, say on that first one, which was 111,000, my best estimate is 30% sold to actual customers of that title. So we're talking 30, 40,000 comics sold to actual people. Now, if you want to get that, if you want to downgrade that even a little more, the amount of people who actually read all of their comics now, that number may surprise you because it's only half. Only half the readers who buy comics actually read the comics. There is a very large number of people who buy the comics, throw it in a box, in a bag, maybe intend to read it, some don't, and never read the book. Now, is there scientific data on that? No, that is just from 10 years of selling comics and talking to people. All right, so we're going to go to the third month now of this super high selling, popular $1 billion movie character, where you can readily find action figures. So remember, it was number 1 in dollars, number 2 in comics sold to retailers. We're in the third month here of March, and it was number 42. It is now dropped to, oh my God, where'd it go? Did it go up? Maybe it went up. Maybe I missed it. Where I can't find Captain Marvel, everybody. Where's Captain Marvel? It's really popular. It's this really popular character that everybody loves. Comic stores love her the most. Look, Buffy. Well, I must have passed it up. Or maybe it didn't come out. Here, I'll cheat now. Captain Marvel. There we go. Oh, it dropped to 67. Look at that. 27,423. Number 4 at 67. So this is the $1 billion Captain Marvel, Brie Larson, so popular they gave her 5 more goddamn movies. And her comic on the, correct me if I'm wrong, chat, please tell me. Sorry, I was looking at the chat. This is the 6th or 7th 6th or 7th relaunch of her title. Now I'm counting, I'll count Miss Marvel. It's got to be the 6th or 7th relaunch of her title. So let's go to issue number 5. We're going to go to April now, or were we just in April? I don't know. I'm losing track here, but here we'll go here. Yeah. Okay. So we were in April before. So let's go to May. This is getting now I don't know if the comic's canceled or not. It's got to be getting close to being canceled. I think they made this knowing it would get canceled, but they just thought they can get enough out of it. It dropped to 79. Hey, like it stopped the bleeding on this one. It's only at 79. It sold 28,000 or 26,086. Now, out of that 26,086 that were sold to comic shops, my best educated guess, there were 3 variants for Captain Marvel number 2. Thank you, Carrie Dalton. I greatly appreciate it. So my best educated guess on how many people actually bought Captain Marvel number 5 is maybe 8,000. This is retailers ordering close to the vest, and there are a lot of retailers and listen, I bet you a large numbers of these belong to Midtown and Southern California comics. I don't know. Jamie wouldn't be that dumb though. Jamie's a smart guy, so I don't want to disrespect him, but there are a lot of big comic shops that still order big numbers and they don't care. They can take the losses, but that's that's a handful of comic shops. So if it was me, I would be ordering this thing Saver specific. Saver specific is for my subscribers. I wouldn't put any on the shelf. If something dips over 50%, I generally didn't put it on the shelf unless I really like the title and I believed in it. Then if it's a book I like and I believe, I can sell it. It's not hard to do. But yeah, I'm thinking a third of that actually walked out. And again, I think half of that third was read. So we're talking a few thousand people read Captain Marvel a month or two after the movie came out. So the movies aren't trickling down and helping Marvel anymore. And there was a time where it kind of did. I'll tell you right now, Iron Man sales skyrocketed after the movie. And that was the first real time I had noticed it help a superhero comic. Now, with Sin City, when Sin City was coming out, it was like, I swear to God, it was like printing money. I could not keep the Dark Horse trades in stock. For my little shop, I was selling hundreds, and that's like crazy for my little shop of Sin City. And right before Watchmen came out, I couldn't keep those in stock. Scott Pilgrim, whether you like Scott Pilgrim or not, could not keep those in stock. So that the movies do help the source material, but not when it comes to superhero films. And the reason is with Captain Marvel in particular is nobody likes her. Nobody likes her. And the only people supporting this vocally out loud are on one side of the political spectrum because they see this as a political debate. I don't know. I'm crazy. Am I crazy? I have never seen Captain Marvel as a political debate. I see it as intersectional feminism, which is a political thing, but I see that as almost extremism. And well, not almost, it is. It absolutely is. And it's a superficial version of it. And I think what's got a lot of YouTubers and critics of the film fired up is we feel like we're taking crazy pills. We feel like, we feel like we're in They Live and we have the glasses on and nobody else does. We feel like Roddy Piper. I always feel like Roddy Piper. But number 5 is listed with something called a Diamond Retailer Summit variant. That is exactly what it's called, Carrie. So if you go to the Diamond Retailer Summits, they give all the retailers like a little packet to help recoup the costs of their trip. So it's actually a pretty cool idea. So you go to the Retailer Summit. The only ones I went to were the ones in Vegas because nothing against Baltimore. It's just not a place I don't wake up in the morning going, I want to go to Baltimore. Maybe if I was a baseball fan, I'd want to go. And I'm sure it's a fine city. And I'm not saying my city's better because it's not. So I digress. So you go to the retailer summits and they give you like a little prize pack and they make exclusive variants. And it's rare. That shows you how Marvel never used to give variants for the retailer summits. So they must have been desperate for Marvel to Marvel barely takes part in the retailer summits. They send a guy named David Gabriel to show up once in a while and try to sell us more stuff. You know what the retailer summits were? They were trying to upsell us on shit. That was they weren't there to listen to us. They pretended to listen to us, but all they would do is, bring up Mark Waid and trying to push his latest book, or they would freaking try to upsell us on trades or magic cards or whatever. It wasn't and they would, there was a guy named Dave Hawksworth who used to work for Diamond. That guy had a heart of gold. He was great. He was their outside sales rep. I truly love that guy. He passed away. And when he passed away, Diamond passed away. That was it. And Diamond is a soulless company. That's a lazy company. Sorry, I'm going to rip them a new one now because I don't really need to do business with them anymore. They're a lazy, soulless company with good people working there, like the credit rep, Maria Gellia. Everybody knows her. She goes through hell, that poor woman. She is cool. I like her a lot. She helped me out a lot during some lean times, stuck her neck out. She is a good person. So this is everybody except Maria Galea and Dave Hawksworth. Everybody else at Diamond, I had a couple good reps, but they always went away. Nobody really cared. And I told you what they did to me at the end. And that's why I've got a bee in my bonnet about them. But they're the accidental monopoly. They just want to sell you things. They don't care about the shops. The only time they start caring was when you're just about to close. I'm sure they care now. And I'm really curious to see what that threshold is of comic shops closing before they fall under their own weight. But the guy who owns it, the guy's rich. So we'll see. We'll see. But what they did to me towards the end was I was going through a very hard time. I've talked about it before. I was going through a relapse, decided to sell the store, and we were going back and forth on some money. And the new guy who was buying my store started a new account, but it was still under my name. And they would, for my last month's worth of shipments, they only sent me half my books, but they charged me the whole thing. And I had to deal with that every week while I'm trying to sell a business, transfer a business, and never got those books back, never got a credit. F Diamond. They took advantage of a situation, and it was pretty petty for a small company to do that. Grand Inquisitor. I don't know if I can midstream, but I can try. But I have if we're looking for other ways to pay other than let's see if I can get Streamlabs going. Hang on. It's a one-man show. But I mean, look at the books that were selling more than Captain Marvel. I mean, it's it's all fucking Marvel and DC. When I left the comic book industry in 2013, things were great. Image books. There was Image books selling well and in the top 10. I'm sorry, I'm looking at this list and getting depressed. Marvel screwed up bringing back Conan the Barbarian. I mean, that's all you need to know. And they just don't put any money in anything anymore. I don't know why anybody would want to open up basically a newsstand comic store, which is a comic store that sells just new releases right now. You'd have to be nuts. You'd have to be nuts. I'm looking through this list and the numbers. I'll never forget when I first became aware that the numbers were going down. Honestly, for the first 3 or 4 years I was at the shop, didn't really pay much attention to what was selling nationally. I was just paying attention to what sold in my shop. And I got a call from Derek Robertson. Derek Robertson calls me and goes, "Did you hear?" I'm all, "No, what?" He's all, last month's Amazing Spider-Man sold 60,000 copies. And I thought the world was over. I'm like, what? Huh? I'm all, you got to be kidding me. And I looked it up, and yeah, an Amazing Spider-Man book, and this was 10 years ago, sold 60,000 copies. And I thought the world was ending. I mean, I thought that was it for comic books. I'm like, well, that's it for my job. I'm done. And somehow it's managed to just maintain. But that was my biggest problem. And I'd bring it up at summits all the time. I'm like, it's really complacent. We're just happy with not rocking the boat here. Maybe we want to do something a little radical or get rid of the return policy. And again, first time I brought that up, I got laughed at. And I brought it up again, got laughed at again. And here we are, and that's something they need to do like immediately. And now we have other retailers calling for it too, but they're not going to do it. They're never going to do it. Thank you, Peter Davison. Let me get back to the super chats. I get rolling on the comic shop thing. But with my new one, like I've said before, I'm not going to rely on them at all. I'm bummed that Baker Taylor's gone, and there's still Ingram out there, but there's not a lot of places I can go get books. Fortunately, things are different now, and all I need to do is, go. I'll actually hit Craigslist and start buying trade paperback collections. There's tons of them, and that will be my trade paperbacks, and I'll just offer to buy books. How soon till 5,000 copies of Amazing Spider-Man? I heard Amazing Spider-Man's better now, but I dipped out. Dan Slott was enough for me. I dipped out after 600. I was still reading it after 600, but I stopped collecting at number 600. I was done. Because I've got complete runs. I was really into having a complete run. So I have a complete run of the Avengers, Iron Man, Captain America, Ghost Rider, Spider-Man, all Spider-Man titles, like Spectacular, everything, up till 600. Up till the date 600 came out, and then I stopped collecting all other side titles like Marvel Team Up, Marvel 2-in-1, Marvel Premiere, I've got a decent run of Fantastic Four, but it's not complete. Daredevil, every solo Wolverine issue. Yeah. Nothing complete DC. Oh, I have a complete new Teen Titans. Teen Titans, I have all the Teen Titans books from DC. I couldn't dream of getting a complete run of like Batman or anything. That's out of my reach. And that was years of collecting, and I haven't actually, it's been a while since I even bought back issues. I bought a bunch of dollar ones for Logan at this store in Palm Springs. It was brilliant. I got two short boxes, two short boxes full of Bronze Age DC for $300. It was great. Let's get back to the super chat. Avery Jack Black for $2. My favorite stream. Thanks, Nerdrotic. Oh, you're welcome. I love that I'm your favorite stream, Avery. That is all I need to hear. That is music to my ears. It is, especially when I'm like kind of like I said, I had a show, but I'm going to push this show to Friday, kind of planned out. And this is kind of, let's say goodbye to the Marvel Universe. You know, the good thing is there are thousands of back issues that you can never read for the rest of your life, and you don't have to buy a single comic. And there are a lot of shops that carry these back issues, or better yet, they're cheaper now because demand is low, and not on the key issues. Okay, of course, but if you're looking for like Bronze Age DC and you don't need to have a mint copy of anything, you can get that stuff on the cheap. Again, if you're in Southern California, go hit. I forgot it. I forgot their name. Damn it. I'll find their name for it. There's a comic shop in Palm Springs that just bought a collection of DC Bronze, and they just made it their dollar boxes. I was like, yeah. So like last month, a guy made a video about me. It only has like 88 views at the time. I shared it on Twitter. And of all the things to criticize me for, I mean, there's a lot of things. My face, my beard, my views on Captain Marvel, my views on Game of Thrones. I mean, pick it. I understand. I do. My walls, like he picks on me for my wall. I mean, I don't care. Calls me a hoarder. Listen, son, a hoarder doesn't dust his action figures meticulously every 6 months. Obsessive compulsive, sure, no problem. Hoarder, no, my shit's in order. Okay. Get your information straight, Sonny. So yeah, but plus my walls of wonder are my artistic expression of my love for all things action figures. The only thing I love, well, my family, of course, but the only thing outside my family that I love truly are comic books and action figures. I look at an action figure, especially one from the 90s, and for me, it's like going to the Louvre and looking at art. It's the same experience for me. If Hollywood took R.E. Howard's Conan novels made into a movie, can it be done without losing the feel of the books being true to the written story in today's SJW wokeness? Hope they don't turn on books. JC Locke for Canadian $5 with Conan books. They can't be made right now. And Amazon had a Conan series and they scrapped it. And I will tell you the reason I think they scrapped it, and then I'll read you what they said. So we'll go to Conan TV series canceled at Amazon. So they picked it up and then they canceled it. And back in March, Amazon announced that Ryan Condal, executive producer of the well-received dystopian drama Colony, has been drafted in to develop a TV version of Robert E. Howard's titular hero. 3 previous movies have been made based on Conan, the Conan character, 2 in the 1980s starring Arnold Schwarzenegger, and a more recent one starring Jason Momoa, which I would like them to give Momoa a chance again. I thought the script was bad. I thought he looked the part, definitely did in Game of Thrones. However, all of these films had used original scripts and been criticized for not using the original source material. True. Condal got fans excited by confirming that the series would directly adapt the Robert E. Howard short stories, with the pilot being an adaptation of the Frost Giant's daughter. Like, that gives me goosebumps. That'd be great. The earliest set story in the Conan mythos, about Conan as a callow teenager, having only just left the homeland of Samaria. Writer Ashley Edward Miller, fringe term, fucking JJ people, fucking everywhere, JJ people everywhere. So yeah, so they canceled it. So the reason they canceled Conan, in my opinion, was like he's the epitome of masculine, and to do a proper Conan, to do a proper barbarian story is not a story they're going to tell in Hollywood anymore. It's not going to happen. Look at this that just came across about Rami Malek on Bond. And you're going to start seeing a lot more of this. And this really restricts, I'm sorry, I just picked the first site I got. Okay. Rami Malek agreed to play Bond villain only if character had no religious, or they left something out, or ideological motives. So how do you have a villain that doesn't have ideological motives? So what you're doing is you're restricting writers. All right. And listen, all of a sudden, why don't they, I think if they just made him Christian, I don't think Rami would have a problem with it. And I don't think Hollywood would have a problem with it. So we're talking about all the other religions, right? And I'm saying this not as a Christian. So we're now restricting writers. We can't show violence towards women, but we can show it towards men all day long. We can't show certain religions in a bad light anymore. So basically every story, you're going to start having superheroes fighting circumstances. You know, like Captain America versus, they can adapt a comic. They can adapt a comic from Marvel where Black Panther and Storm take on gentrification. There you go. So that's what we're headed for. We're seeing the restriction of writing, free expression, and they're doing it to themselves. They're self-censoring. So once they self-censor, they're going to start censoring us, and they're going to start censoring me. They're going to start saying, I can't criticize the casting of Little Mermaid, or you, or Mark Lazarth, or General cannot criticize the casting of Little Mermaid. That's coming next. So this is a problem. This is a major problem. So this is why we're not going to get a Conan, because it's too masculine. There's violence towards women, and nope, we don't get that story anymore. Time's up. Time's up means what it means. It means time's up. Well, guess what? Hollywood, your time might be up. Quarter Black Garrett from the Steven Crowder Show. Shout out to you, brother. Thank you very much. Asked me a question on my live stream last night, asking, when is Hollywood going to fall apart? And I told him there was a time I thought Hollywood was forever. It was forever. I'm not saying it's going to die tomorrow. I'm not saying it's going to die in 2 decades, but Hollywood is not forever. Stories will always be told, but how they're told will change. How they're being told will change. I think, there's a lot of things that are our future, and we'll see, but the movie theater will not last forever. And I could see a time in a century or so where people look back and go, they used to watch people pretending to be other people. That was weird, huh? Yeah, I can see it happening. So Hollywood isn't forever. And this is a time, I think this is a perfect time for the independent creator to rise up and get rid of that gatekeeper. And we're seeing this more and more. And I've always thought that comics were kind of a precursor for entertainment. I've said this here before, and they will fall first, and they will, look at all the Marvel superhero films. This is based on stuff that came out decades ago. And a lot of us knew this stuff was cool decades ago. And it took Hollywood how long to kind of figure it out? They haven't even completely figured it out. And they never will. So how can we say that Hollywood is the place to go anymore? We used to dream, when I was a kid, I used to dream of seeing Spider-Man on film. I thought that would have been the greatest thing ever. But now as an adult, I've experienced it. And I know that I already saw Spider-Man in the greatest form ever within the pages of a comic book written by Stan Lee and drawn by John Romita. That is the greatest Spider-Man ever. And it will never be beat. The greatest Batman to me, written by Denny O'Neil, drawn by Neil Adams. That's the films are bad versions of that. I mean, God, Warner Brothers will never figure out Batman. I wish they would, but they won't. Batman belongs on a television show as a detective television show with all of his villains, of course, and and the entire Bat family, but we'll never see that. We'll never see it. All right, get back to here. Sorry, off soapbox a little bit. But I would love to see a true Conan. The only way we'll see it, and I don't know if it's the Howard estate or not. We don't even have a proper 1/6 scale action figure. Now there's a kit you could put together that looks pretty good, but there's no action figure. And I love Conan. I love the comic. Oh, I have a complete run of Marvel's original Marvel run of Conan too. And that can be had for cheap. Let's get back here. JC Locke for Canadian $10. If Hollywood took yeah, I already read that. Damn it. And that's what led to this whole thing. I want a good Conan. That would have been great to see a Conan series. That would have been brilliant. It probably was expensive, but it would do well if it was done right. Okay. I got to say this one slowly. Naru Takikan for $5. I apologize for butchering that name. Hi, Gary. A great bridge between manga and superheroes is an anime series from a few years ago called Tiger and Bunny. I highly recommend it to you. I will note that down. That and My Hero Academia, I need to check out. Honestly, thank God for manga and anime for resisting some of this stuff. Now, I know anime is going through its own, the Weeb Wars right now, which are good friends. That Umbrella Guy and Yellow Flash and Nick Rekieta are doing fine reporting on, and I highly recommend you go to them for that information. I have very cursory knowledge of it just through watching them, but they do good work on that. Tone's review for Australian $2 sent an email to you, Gary. Please check it out. Cool. When did you send it? If you guys let me know if you sent an email, please let me know, like if you sent it today, because I want to read it. And again, I'm new at this. So the most emails I ever received at any job were at my comic store, and it was 30, 40 a day, very manageable. This is nothing I've ever experienced before. So I'm doing my very best to get through it, but I'll keep an eye on. And probably not, but I need to point out, is your handle on YouTube the same as your email? Is it different? I'll check it out. Bradman, $5. What if SJW actually stands for Stagnated Jaloja Week? Maybe. And that's why they seem so full of piss. Well, maybe they just need to take a leak. I am of the camp of there is a giant stick up their ass, and it just needs to be removed. And it needs to be removed like a Band-Aid. Like it just needs to be pulled out, not slowly, quickly. CW Walker 94 for $2. What do you think of the TWD? I'm going to ending this week. If it's a comic, I didn't read it. Hang on. Oh, The Walking Dead. What do I think of The Walking Dead? What do I think? I'm surprised that I'm surprised at the timing of the announcement. I'm not surprised at the announcement. Now, I'm not retailing right now, but if I was retailing and they didn't give me heads up about this, I'd be kind of pissed, because if you announce a comic is ending, you at least do it prior to final order cutoff, which is called FOC, which is you can basically go and adjust your ordering a couple weeks before the comic comes out. Now, if they made this announcement afterwards, then no comic store can order up or down, because chances are it's sold out. So it was a good way to get people interested. And apparently he always planned to end it prior to it reaching issue 200. I'm very curious. I haven't read any articles on it, and maybe we can read one before I go. I'm very curious to see if he'll go back on his word and tell us how the zombies like happened. But yeah, end of an era. I'm sure Image Comics isn't happy about it. Because that was, I mean, they got their share of money out of it, but Robert Kirkman is doing quite well. And didn't he just sign a deal with Netflix to do a bunch of shows? So maybe that had something to do with it. Not sure. Technocratic concentration camp for Australian $7.99. I just signed up on Subscribestar to yourself and Doomcock. Thank you very much. So if you do not like Patreon, there is a Subscribestar, and I'm sorry, I meant to. I will post later today the live stream I did earlier for Patreon. So basically, Subscribestar, Patreon, you're going to get the same stuff, and eventually the tiers will be exactly the same. So it's just a matter of I don't like Patreon, I have another place to go. And I'm sure my mods have put that in there, but Subscribestar, I'll put it in here too. But I need to post today's live stream on there, which I have not done yet, and I apologize. But there you go. Oh, and by the way, I haven't even set up my my bank account on it. I got to do that, but I'll get around to it. So there's my Subscribestar. If you don't like Patreon, and believe me, I'm soured on them, but I have a lot of people on Patreon, and I'll stick with them unless they silence anybody else. They do that one more time, bye-bye, I'm gone. I'm not supporting things that do not support free speech anymore, and I'm going to be pretty quick about that. Yeah, I damn near quit Facebook over Bounding into Comics when they shut down Bounding into Comics for a couple days in support of my friend John. But thank you, Technocratic Concentration Camp. I greatly appreciate it. You are brilliant. Chief Cook, $4.99. What the next DC and Marvel character to come out in the coming years? I hope there are new characters. Chief Cook for $4.99. Yes, I want them to create new characters, but both companies seem incapable of doing it or sticking with it. There was a new line of characters that DC just came out with. Some people really like them and they didn't stick with it. And it's because they keep listening to, I'm sorry, I know people like him, Jim Lee. This reorganization and rearranging the deck chairs on the Titanic of DC Comics, getting rid of Vertigo, a known title, instead of revamping Vertigo to put it back to its true self, they create the Black Label. Oh, that is some out of the box corporate thinking. I wonder what the PowerPoints looked on that one. Jeez, this is comic books we're talking about. Okay, I'll give you a great example of how few people actually understand genre, nerd culture. The people making decisions for Star Wars, Star Trek now, they're bankers. They're essentially bankers. So Diamond Comics distributors. I'm going to show you their logo. And this is everything you need to know. It always bugged me back then, and it bugs me now. This is the logo of a comic book distributor. Comic books are just they're an expression of two forms of art. They're the Reese's peanut butter cup of art. They are obviously illustration and writing put into one. The perfect form of art, in my opinion. This is the logo for Diamond Comics distributor. It looks like they bought it at the logo store and they bought it for cheap. And that could be a logo for a widget manufacturer, a pen manufacturer, or a nuclear bomb manufacturer. But this is the logo for a comic book distributor. Now, one of the reasons my walls are filled is I'm all about expression, but it's a philosophy I brought home from my comic store. I every time I go to a different town, I go to a comic store, and I hated going miles to that comic store. And I walk in, and there's one poster on the wall, a 6x2 rack of new releases, and a bunch of Marvel Essential trades. And it basically looks like they ordered, uh, it looks like it as put so well by the owner of Mile High Comics, a diamond retail store. If you're a comic book store, you have to have primary colors everywhere. And don't just put up the posters they give you, buy posters. Or better yet, I bet you have artists who stop at your store, commission one of them for credit to make you some art for your wall. Or maybe you're an artist yourself. Do a giant mural, do something, put action figures on the wall. That's what I did. So it shows you the lack of vision this company has, because it starts with the fracking logo. Everything starts with your logo. This is branding 101, and this is Diamond's brand. By the way, they have not changed that since, I don't know, prior to when I started retailing, which is in 2003. So we're talking 15 years, 16 years. That's their logo. And they never even probably thought of changing it. It's probably never even crossed their mind that, hey, we don't look like a comic book distributor. We look like we sell paper. And like even the name Diamond, it's dumb. It's dumb, it's basic, it's average, and that's what we're dealing with. And that's why the comic book industry is stagnant and flat, because this is the thing that drives it. For fuck's sake, people, it's comic books. It's not rocket science. But you would think it was with some of these people. It's comic books are the easiest thing to sell. They're the easiest fracking thing in the world to sell because they're good. And when they're not good, there's ways around it. Don't buy them. Just push the good ones. It's that easy. When you're a comic shop owner, make sure you read a lot of comics. Make sure you are effing dialed in on everything, every social media network. And if you can't be, you hire someone who is. You always, 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 if you can afford it, bring somebody in, and don't just bring in a body who can do work for you. You bring in somebody who, takes care of something that you might be weak on. Like if I was ever going to branch out into magic cards or anything, I know dick about them. I would find an employee who was an expert. That would be my highest priority. And plus they would have customer service, and you have to have knowledge. Now, to work at my store, you had to pass a test. It was a basic test, but you had to pass a test, and you had to pass it with 50% or you didn't get the job. One of these days I'll find the questions, and it's pretty much 5 of the easiest questions in the world, and then 5 pretty tough ones. And that was done on purpose. But if you can't answer, who drew the cover for Amazing Fantasy 15, that should be a very basic answer. What's up, LT Showcase? How's it going? All right, we're gonna get back to the super chats here. So the comic industry and the MCU, honestly, I can say this with a bit of confidence, that partially ruined by Captain Marvel, the character of Captain Marvel, not the character herself, but the company behind it that is just trying to continue to force a character down our throat that nobody wants, nobody cares about, and they are going to do it even if it sets them on fire. They are not going to quit until they've either propagandized their way into reality, convincing everybody that they do like her. Yeah, you know what? I completely believe a company would fudge their ticket sales numbers for marketing. I know there's people out there go, that's ridiculous because Disney said they didn't. Oh, okay. I can believe, because as I've stated before, they've done this in the comic book industry. They overship. They sell variants. They pad the goddamn numbers. You don't think they do that with films too? Come on, son. Snowdub and Snowdub Music and Entertainment for $1. What is up, Snowdub? How you doing? I was just talking about you. How's Megs? Hope she's doing good. She's a strong woman. She's a strong female lead. We like her. Peter Davison, Australian $2. Lead Beater is free online. Check it out. I will. Is it lead better or lead beater? Don't want to be a beater. It's probably lead better. Thank you, Peter. Gert Frobe for $2. I want Spawn versus Batman movie. That'd be cool. I actually like. Everybody hated that comic when it came out. Everybody hated it. I loved it. I loved Spawn and Batman crossover. To make sure I'm not skipping anything. Frank Palmieri for $4.99. Hard to sell lame stories. Marvel has to realize that a lot of their second tier characters will never sell. Captain Marvel, Jessica Jones, Iron Fist, meh. It's you put Alan Moore in his prime on Captain Marvel, it would sell, but he would write her like a character. It depends on the writer. It's just the talent. There is no talent. Daredevil, think about the concept of Daredevil. I mean, Daredevil's cemented in our minds now as a major Marvel character. But if you go back to the 70s and you're a kid, you're like, he's blind and he's got no superpowers except for his little radar sense. Yeah, that's weird. But you put Frank Miller on him. Swamp Thing is a giant ball of goo. But you put it gets created by Len Wein and Bertie Wrightson, and it's done as a horror book, and it does okay, but then you put Alan Moore on it and it takes it to the stratosphere, and he does things you would never even conceive with that character. And now it's got a great TV show. It had a couple movies. I like the 80s movies. I thought they were good, but they're terrible. Yeah. So it depends on the writer. Jessica Jones was a decent Alias was a good short story, but nothing that will carry any. No, I wouldn't want to read story after. Like, where would you go with Jessica Jones? She'd have to get happy at some point, and that's why the series never made it, because she's just a miserable drunk and a flawless miserable drunk, like a Mary Sue miserable drunk, which is terrible. Iron Fist, yeah, they blew it. Iron Fist is good with Power Man. I love Power Man and Iron Fist. That was a good book. But yeah, it's hard to sell. Frank, you're right. It's hard to sell lame stories written by hacks. 99 Iron Duke, Australian $5. For a good film, look for the Aussie movie Danger Close. Out in early August, trailer on YouTube. Yeah, I think you told me about that. That you Aussies, you're pretty cool. Art Fusco for $2. Your action figure wall is cool. Thank you, Art. I think it is too. Yeah, there's some guy with a hoodie on YouTube who likes to jog and do his videos. Maybe I should do a response video in the gym. Shia Storm Dragon for $5. New to this. Why? That's why no comment earlier. Thanks for championing the fans. Love your content. Shia, it is okay. That is totally okay. And I greatly appreciate it. And welcome. And yes, I will remain here for the fans because I am one. I am just a fan. Handsome Orc for Canadian $5. God bless your work. To clarify about Shadow's game, first was fine. Second went woke. Shelob equals Maleficent. Oh, no, really? The evil mother, good all along because of whammon. Yeah, that's woke. Now, there's different levels of woke. Now, the woke I'm referring to in Game of Thrones is they're possibly gender swapping Lan the Clever, which is the man who started out House Lannister. How did he start Lannister? He sired sons. So I don't know how a woman, I mean, she can have sons, but they didn't start family names with females in the feudalistic based on God. This is even before that. We're talking Stone Age version of Game of Thrones. Now, of course, they can play with it, and it's not the history, and whatever. And she could be Lan the Clever's mom, certainly, or nothing at all. I just thought that title was funny. Oh, yeah. I don't know if people didn't want to bring it up or just ignored it. I don't know. But yeah, Mrs. Nerdrotic gave me the go-ahead on that one. She thought it was pretty funny. Thank you, handsome orc, and you are a handsome orc. And at this point, I will admit something very embarrassing, but it's true. I like Bright on Netflix. I do. I like that movie. I used to like Will Smith, and I don't anymore, but I liked Bright. Bright's ridiculous, but there was something I liked a lot about it. Demonic Bioman, $5. Have you seen the article Disney deletes Toy Story 2 casting couch outtake amid Me Too movement? Didn't know H. Weinstein was in Toy Story 2. What? Huh? No way. What? Freaking Harvey. Ruined everything. There's okay, 6 hours ago. Toy Story 2 casting couch outtake is not so funny. I bet you it's freaking hilarious. The scene, which appears in a faux blooper reel at the end of the 1999 animation film, is no longer a part of the new home entertainment release, according to several reports. That it likely means that it won't appear on the streaming version of the film. Then Disney launches Disney Plus in November. Buy physical media, and you know what? This is going to make physical media collectible. It's shit like this is going to make it collectible. Anytime you ban something, it's worth money. So hang on to your Toy Story 2 Blu-ray or whatever that has that on there. So we can't joke about this stuff too. Yeah, this is I don't know how we're going to fight this. It's going to take a long time to fight this. In the words from the outlaw Josie Wales, we need to endeavor to persevere. And it's going to be a long one. And I don't know if we're going to win. And winning means we get to keep our free speech. That's simply it. I don't want a dissolution. I don't want like one side or the other dissolved or anything. I don't want one side or the other taking complete power. I think we need to maintain the balance, and it's getting pretty wobbly these days. frack. I mean, it's funny, and then the results are not funny. Demonic Bioman, thank you for the $5. CW Walker, Gary, I still need your Plex screen name so I can add you to my server. Please see the email I sent on 627 saying I need your Plex screen name. I think it's just my name. I think I signed up through Facebook. I'll send it to you though. I just got to make sure all personal info is covered on that one. Scarlett Johansson, Cloud9 Ninja for Canadian $10. Thank you, by the way, CW Walker 94. Thank you for staying on me. Do stay on me about that. Cloud9 Ninja, Canadian $10. Scarlett Johansson as Major Mira Keelian in Ghost in a Shell. Twitter, whitewashing black girl cast as Ginger in Little Mermaid. Oh my God, so stunning. Shake my head. Hollywood is done. Hollywood is done. And yeah, every response to anybody critical of what we're saying about let's go to that article real quick. Un momento, por favor. I apologize. I am having technical difficulties. Here we go. Hollywood Reporter. I mean, this is ridiculous. Sorry, I was choking there for a second. All right. Disney finds Little Mermaid star in singer Haley Bailey. Is it Hale Bailey? Haley Bailey? I don't know the singer. I'm gonna sound like an old man now. Is it Haley Bailey or Hale Bailey? Let me know which one it is. Is it Hale? Yikes is right. Red like Zendaya for MJ. Yeah, Zenyatta Mendata. Okay, so here we go. Rob Marshall will direct the live-action musical. Singer-actress Hale or Haley Bailey will be part of Disney's world. Bailey, who with her sister forms R&B duo Chloe X Haley has nabbed the starring role in Disney's live-action remake of The Little Mermaid and will play the role of Ariel, the rebellious daughter of King Triton, who comes along to live on dry land. The decision was made today with the budding actress notified later Wednesday morning. Mermaid is casting with Melissa McCarthy, Jacob Tremblay, and Aquafina in talks to star and lend their voices to other live action CG parts. Wait a minute. I thought you said it's live action, but you're lending your voice to a CG part? So is this going to be live action or is it going to be CG? Rob Marshall is set to direct after helming the studio sequel Mary Poppins, which, I mean, that was such a hit, right? And Mary Poppins Returns. After an extensive search, it was abundantly clear that Haley possesses the rare combination of spirit, heart, youth, and lack of red hair, innocence, and substance. Wow, I'm going to say that again. After an extensive search, it was abundantly clear that Haley possesses the rare combination of spirit, heart, youth, and innocence and substance. She has substance. That's very hard thing to find in Hollywood these days. I totally agree. I think Hollywood lacks all kinds of substance, like a soul, personality, ability to empathize. I love when Alex Kurtzman was throwing around the word empathy. It's like, oh, Alex, you learned a new word today. Good boy. But she has that quality that they just love in Hollywood. Youth. They love to devour youth. Listen and believe, except if it's Corey. Plus a glorious singing voice. All intrinsic qualities necessary to play the iconic role. Said Marshall in a bullshit statement. An early 2020 production start is being planned. Are we not going to bring this up? Are they not even going to bring it up? Ron Clements and John Musker were behind the animated 1989 original, which won Best Original Song and Scores Oscars for Alan Menken. For the new iteration of the fairy tale, Menken will team with Lin-Manuel Miranda on the music. Mark Platt, who worked with Marshall on Mary Poppins Returns, and executive producer Guy Ritchie made Aladdin? What? I didn't know that. Is producing Marshall, and John DeLuca are also produced our Mermaids as Miranda. Bailey 19 is best known as one half of some pop duo I've never heard of. The Little Mermaid would be a breakout role for Bailey, whose only on-screen credit is a supporting player on Freeform's Yara Shahidi series Grown-ish. I want to groan right now. She is repped by CAA. I really am curious to see what these tweets say. Well, I don't want to say anything. I still don't want to say anything. Hang on. Woo. Oh, shit. That was mean. Sorry, but complete nonsense. This character is red hair and white. Not a problem with black people, but it is similar to produce a Moana live action with a pale white girl. Well, 7-year-old and 22-year-old me are screaming and crying, "We going under the sea, mama." Okay. Did you see this one? I love being black. We are powerful than any other race. We are powerful than any other race. Okay. Okay. Correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't Ariel like white? In the Caribbean, there should have always been black. This casting is spot on. Lida, Lida, um, black people were brought to the Caribbean by white people. The Caribbean, well, I mean, there was brown people there, yeah, for sure. Um, mm, okay. Uh, Blackwashing. Yes, this is the real Ariel, not that thing you put on your page. Well, we don't want to say things. Come on, let's go, people. Anyone who has a problem with this casting is required to produce no less than one IR in real life mermaid to substantiate their grievance. Oh, okay. Hang on. Give me just a second. I can do that. Okay, so can we actually say that for anything then? Dun, 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 dun. I'm looking for that doctored footage of the mermaid that was on Coast to Coast AM. Hang on a second. Uh, it's a lot of funny pictures there I could bring up, but I won't. Um, yeah, we're not talking about the mermaid here. Here's what we're talking about. Yeah. I mean, uh, so the Little Mermaid was written by Hans Christian Andersen. So we're talking about the source material here. Danish Hans Christian Andersen, and it was a Danish fairy tale. And I do believe there is a statue of the Little Mermaid in the town Hans lived in. I'm sorry, but here we're going to go to this picture. So, yeah, I mean, you could question the red hair. Hans Christian Andersen, Danish writer, was the one who came up with the story. And that's what we're talking about. We're not talking about real life mermaids or any crap like that. We're talking about a story with source material. And what you're trying to do is emulate something that was popular. So you want it to continue to be popular. Now, if you want to completely change it and don't call it the Little Mermaid and make it like a newer, updated version, retitle it, whatever. But you're trying to sell this as a live action version of your animated feature. Okay. Okay. Just do it. I mean, this is you can do what you want, Disney. You can do what you want, but good luck on this one. I mean, I wouldn't listen if there was the hottest redhead in the world in that movie, I wouldn't see it. I'm not going anyway. And it's partially because I'm not interested in these things, and I'm not interested in giving Disney my money. I become less and less interested every day. So we're talking about source material, and that's all. Okay, fine. Go ahead and do it. That's what I say about Brie Larson going to be Captain Marvel. Fine. Do it. Go ahead. Let's see what happens. You can't manipulate the readings, the results forever. And it's clear that's what you're doing. So, all right. Ancient or Aniscent Porto Drago. Wow. Canadian $20. Thank you, Aniscent. If I said that right, I'm sorry if I didn't. I apologize. Thank you for the Canadian $20. I greatly appreciate it. Patrick Mooney, 99 cents. Thank you for the donation, my friend. Dan Reese, Australian $2. Keep the TV show recommendations coming. Rest in peace, Doctor Who. As soon as I come across some new ones, I will pass them on. In the meantime, there's some old stuff you can definitely go check out if you've never seen. I don't know. It depends on your taste, but again, I've been watching a hell of a lot of Buffy lately. because I love Buffy. I know. I'm not supposed to like a female-led series because I'm a misogynist, but I do. But I'm sure the argument to that was Buffy is all about the male gaze, and then it's like, okay, fine, whatever. Frank Palmieri for $4.99 would love to see TV shows like Batman, where final episode or two is a movie. Way to bridge the gap from streaming to theaters. I'm wondering. I've often wondered why they don't do that. And when Disney bought Marvel, they had every opportunity to do that. They could have done a prequel series that led up to the Avengers. I mean, like, you own the networks. Here's the deal with genre. We've come so far with CG and practical effects and everything, and in a lot of ways, it's still too expensive. I mean, I think we're still years away from a proper Silver Surfer movie. I mean, if you want to do a Silver Surfer movie right, we're close, but we're not quite there. Orville Nation for $10. Gary, I don't think the split in fandom is near to 50% as Kurtzman says. Unfortunately for Star Trek, it's more like 75 to 25. The STD versus Orville vote proves it because most all voting are Star Trek fans. Exactly. Those were Star Trek fans voting for the Orville. There might have been a few Seth MacFarlane fans, but those are Star Trek fans. There is I think it's like a 75-25 split in Star Trek fandom. Listen, there's hardcore Star Trek fans who are just going to buy anything they're given. And those are consumers. Those are Star Trek consumers. A fan is discerning. Some are anyway. Oh, the bubblegum for $5. Diamond manufacturers of comics, baby formula, and world domination, and failing at all of it. Yes, all out of bubblegum. You are correct, sir. Thank you. Hiroshi Score for 50 Mexican dollars. Notification very late tonight. In other news, my wife officially joined the Fandom Menace today. Yes, with the Little Mermaid cast announcement. Welcome, new members, to the Fandom Menace. We are a collective of fans who just want our entertainment good again. We are united behind the cause of treating the fan with respect and treating our modern mythology with respect. This was troll casting. This was casting to earn social credit. This was a woke casting choice. And again, nothing against this young lady who got the role at all. She was pulled into this, and now she's going to get shit, a lot of shit. And then they're going to use that against us when the vast majority of us are saying, listen, it's a white character. Now, is it okay if we can we now cast appropriately now? Can I complain about Valkyrie now? Is it okay? Because Valkyrie is based on Norse mythology and should not be black or half black. Did Mahler show up? What's up, Mahler? How long you been here? I thought you were streaming. Hang on. Let me go Twitter. I just checked Twitter to see if he what is up, Mahler? Where did my messages go? Well, that's weird. That's weird. That's very, very strange. Hang on. There we are. Here, I'll bring you in, Mahler. If you're still here, I'm going to bring you in. I need to get my headphones though, which are, hang on just a second, everybody. Hold the phone. We apologize for that moment of silence on the Nerdrotic channel. Now, it's 6, so yeah, we can bring in Mahler. I freaking love Mahler. One of my all-time favorite YouTubers. So if he's still around, I'm going to invite, we're going to read super chats and probably talk about Buffy. So just hope you're ready for that. Hope you're ready for that. Bum, 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 bum. There. That is that. I got to get my settings going right. Output into the Rode Podcaster. There we go. Okay. Camera back on. All right, that's taken care of. Thanks for bringing it to my attention. Yes, I am blind. I am blind and I am old. And you know what? You got the third one right. I'm a bastard. I'm an actual bastard. I have no idea who my father is.
Hello, Gary.
Hello. What's up, Tiger?
How do you do?
I'm good. I'm good. I saw you were streaming earlier. I'm like, oh, I'll bug him later. But I came on super late today, so I wasn't sure what you were doing. How's life? How's Buffy? How's the Buffy viewing?
Still, we're into season 4 and Angel season 1. Doing some more tomorrow. Getting closer and closer to the body. That's the part where I'm really curious how he's gonna react to that shit, man.
I
Especially
know, huh?
when you care about everybody. It's like, oh god, it's almost worse because you're like, oh, this is gonna hit you hard.
It is, and I just finished season 2. So I'm going to try to catch up with you guys, but and I know you brought this up, but I cannot think of a show in existence that had such a leap. And I know we've talked about this before, from season 1 to season 2, and just like an epicness. Like it went from like this cute, funny little show. I like season 1. There's lots of things I like season 1, but everything changed so drastically in season 2. It's almost like they wrote season 1 like they weren't expecting to survive and they held everything off. I don't know.
Friend of mine who covers it, the one I was sort of showing you bits and bobs about, he says in his videos that apparently they were a mid-season replacement during season 1, so they were essentially a rushed project where it was like, hey, take it or leave it, and they were like, oh, okay. And so everything sort of cobbled together quickly and done, and then season 2 was their first proper shot at actually making a season, I would imagine, which makes a lot more sense.
It does. I'm trying to, man, that's a long time ago. It's 22 years of brain cells I got to go sift through. I remember hearing about Buffy as a TV show in a comic shop. I was at my comic shop. I'm like, what? The movie? They made the movie. But it seemed to make sense to me. I'm like, okay. And I didn't love it at first. As a matter of fact, I was in my 20s. So I hated, you were in your 20s at some time, or maybe you still are. I hated everything.
I still am.
Okay, you still are. So when I was in my 20s, everything sucked. Everything sucked. And then I would watch it and I'm all, okay, it doesn't suck. But I pretty much hated everything in the 90s. And yeah, because I was just a grumpy little 22-year-old and I was 27 when Buffy came out. So I was getting up there. But it is, man, I'm so happy I talked to you, because it's my favorite show. And although it doesn't show up in my room, I've got like every action figure. I've got the freaking library playset, which I was curious. I had no idea. It's worth like $600 now. I'm like, whoa, cool. Nice. But what we're talking about, a lot of shit has gone down. So it's a bunch of bad news today, Mueller. Brie Larson.
I heard. Yeah. Oh wait, what's the Brie Larson one?
We get her for. I think we knew this already, but the rumor is that she has a 5-picture deal, so she's going to be in 5 more movies.
Right.
Captain Marvel. Yay. And then there's Ariel.
Yes.
Little Mermaid.
It was, so I found out when I was like in a conversation with Rags, and then he was just like, well, yeah, figures. And I was like, yeah, it kind of does. Weird. Like, it's almost like, yeah, that's what they would do.
And yeah,
it's almost resigned about it now. It's like, well, I think I told you before, I haven't seen a single live action Disney movie. I'm really annoyed that they exist.
Yeah, I'm kind of right there with you. I don't like, I've never been a Disney fan, the animated fans, but I respect Disney fans and they are pissed. I'll ask the chat there. I mean, were you guys really surprised at the casting, or were you just like, they did it? Like, I was expecting this and they did it.
ER predicted it, funnily enough, a few years ago, I think, as well. He was like, they'll definitely, I think he may have said it as a joke, but ain't a joke now, is it?
Ariel-isha.
And it's weird. I said in your chat when someone said, "Show me a real mermaid before, and then you can complain." You know that argument.
Yeah.
I said something like, "So if they cast Blade as a white guy, it'd be like, show me a real half man, half vampire. Do it."
Yep. Oh yeah. We can make. I'm gonna. I screen cap that tweet, and I'm gonna use it for everything else. Not that it's ever gonna happen again, but remember they derailed. I mean, not that it needed it, but they derailed Hellboy, which could have been the one thing that might have made the movie better. And they had Ed Skrein, the guy who was the bad guy. I'm not sure if I'm saying his last name right. Was the bad guy in Deadpool, and he was the original and the good Dario Naharis in Game of Thrones. He was supposed to be in it, and they screamed about that, and he just left. He didn't want to deal with it, so he's all, I'm leaving the movie, and the movie sucks. So
I've heard it, yeah. I haven't seen it. I don't particularly. When I was like, "Oh, you're not doing Guillermo del Toro with," okay. Rebooted Hellboy feels weird to me, but yeah. And then I saw the trailer, and I was like, "Nah, I'm not gonna see
that." And he is my favorite like non-Marvel DC superhero character. Like it's got some of the best lore. It's very Buffy. Hellboy is very Buffy. And yeah, it's got the lore is outstanding in it, and it's a big cohesive story. But
I always assume, how if we get protective over something like Ariel, I can picture them being like, Jesus Christ, like, let other people play them, you racist, that sort of thing. I'd be like, oh, I'm protective of a Blade as well, protective over anybody who's an original character that, and you might be like, why? It's like, it's just. I don't see the point. If this is the thing, you could still have it. It could still be good. For all I know, the writing could still be really strong, or it could be a strong adaptation. That's the only thing that they changed. I would just still be like, what's going on?
The answer to that question is why Idris Elba has the best answer to that. When he was asked if he would be James Bond, he said, I wouldn't want to do it because I would just be known as the Black James Bond, and everything behind this casting was just virtue signaling. It wasn't genuine. So it's going to stick in the back of that young lady's mind while she's cashing her very large check and being in this big movie. But it's going to stick in the back of her mind. Did I get this on my talent and on my merit, or did I get it because I was talented, merit, and I was Black? The answer is you got it because you had talent and you were Black. That was it. And that shouldn't factor. That's racism. Whatever your motivation is you pick somebody based on their race first. And I'm pretty damn sure Disney, the marketing people, decided that first. And you're doing it with the intention in their mind of good. We're trying to bring in new voices and new people. Well, certainly do that in original stuff. Absolutely. Bring as many as you like. No problem with it. But I'm talking about source material. I am protective of source material. Now, I'm not super protective of Ariel, and I can't say it like totally pisses me off because
what was the thing about Buffy? I was like, okay, fine. If you want to make it Black, fine. I just find it so odd that you're like so obsessed with that as a primary. Like they didn't release any more information than that. And as you've said previously, they might not even be going through with it. It's just that it's like, oh, Mola, so you think it can't be well written if she's Black? I'm like, no, it's not that. It's like, it's just why. The whole thing.
It's not why Buffy. It's just not Buffy. Now, if you want to place a story in the world of Buffy and start out with a new Slayer that's Black, sure, that actually makes a lot more sense. Have Buffy, well, she's already died and there are already multiple Slayers. There's lots of things you can do to bring in a new Slayer. Or it would have been Faith. So yeah, or you know what? Have Faith die. Now I don't know if she's died in the comics or not because I haven't read ahead or not, but yeah, do a story where Faith dies and the new Slayer pops up and it's Black, and there you go. You got your new Slayer. And no, you can't call it Buffy, but if it's from that world, Buffy fans are going to come. They will show up. They don't care what it's called. You can call it Sunnydale, for Christ's sake. And they rebuilt Sunnydale, and I would watch it. Hell yeah. And same with Doctor Who. And I know a lot of people disagree with me on this, but I would have much preferred it being a different Time Lord, and I would watch the show. I would watch it just as much as I'd watch Doctor Who. If it's in that world, I'm there. I even went through class. It was terrible. But it's a political move. That's all it is, and that really takes away from it, and it doesn't really help anything. It reeks of tokenism, and it's bad. And hopefully people will look back on this in 10 years and realize like how bad this actually looks. So yeah. Gert Frobe says I liked it too. $2. You must have been talking about, what was I talking about that I liked? I like Flash Gordon, the bad Flash Gordon movie. Oh, Bright. I liked Bright. I know a lot of people hated Bright on Netflix. I liked it. Wes Welk for $5. I want a rated R Spider-Man with Carnage as a villain. Eventually that would be cool.
Is there going to be a sequel for the Venom that came out recently?
Yes.
Or no? Oh well, they're baiting Carnage in that, aren't they?
Yep.
So know,
Carnage. They teased him at the end, and it's Woody Harrelson. So
they really should go R-rated. Just just be free. Be free.
I thought Venom was shot R-rated, and they made it PG-13. Yeah, exactly. Vienna Wells for £20. Sci-Fi Geek talking. Have you read news about a physicist, Leah Broussard, Leah Broussard, that is trying to open a portal to a parallel universe? She calls it an ocleation that would lead to her mirror matter. So interesting. No, I've never heard of that. Is she doing this in her house? Is she like trying to open a portal with not with crystals or anything like that? Right? Yeah, I hope not. Yeah, look at her. Breaking the standard model to fix the understanding of, yeah, cool. I like her. If she's trying to open up portals, I'd like to send a few people through it. Yeah. So I can't wait for the all-female reboot of Saving Private Ryan, says Anthony Mata for $4.99. Exactly. And I've said before, the next war needs to be all-female, female-led. Us blokes are going to sit the next one out, right, Mahler?
Yeah,
we're not fighting.
Give him a shot. See how it goes.
How it goes.
Should be inclusive.
Yes, absolutely. Modalicious for $10. I find it offensive how Disney is woke washing the mythos of mermaids. I also find it offensive the whole woke washing English treatment of the Irish. Not my Ariel. Keep Ariel ginger. It's ginger side. It's ginger side. Quite simple. So how are the videos coming?
Oh, so still editing away on episode 5. That'll, because of that cough, I've just been slowly getting all the audio sorted out, but getting there. More and more progress. Timeline's coming right along as is hoped. It's just that I'm actually been collecting sort of different reaction shots throughout the episodes as well to keep it a bit more fresh instead of having like too many of the same ones. But yeah, and the throat is still acting up, so I have to do a lot of coughing.
That sucks.
But getting there, and I know that a lot of people want to see it, and it's like I'm getting there. I swear, it'll be worth it for not rushing it, if you know what I mean. It's like it'll have all the bells and whistles. I swear. I know it'll just take some time. What was I going to say? Yeah, because obviously I don't know if you know, we did a 12-hour EFAP on Sunday.
I saw a lot of it. Yeah.
Oh yeah, really? Did you have fun?
I did. Yeah.
So we're not doing another one now till Sunday, but did you hear about a video that got released today? I don't know if it would have crossed over with your fan base or not, because we've covered a lot of gaming videos, and there's a channel called Extra Credits. Let me find the video. They released a video very recently, and I have a feeling it's going to get taken down soon. Like, they'll take it down. It's called Stop Normalizing Nazis.
Oh no.
And just so look for Extra Credits, and then look at the like-dislike ratio on that video. I was like, ooh, that's only been out for how long? 7 hours.
I'm looking for it right now. Yeah, I don't want that to go away. There it is. Ooh, that ratio 20. Okay, so you can see my. I have a little thing. I have an add-on where you can see the ratios. 20%.
20%. And We're going to cover it on Sunday, but what it appears to be the major argument is when you have Team A and Team B in war games, like video games, and Team A is, the allies, and Team B is they use an example of like terrorists as a team. It's like when you have that and you portray them as on level with the other team, you're normalizing that Nazis are okay.
And you know what? Somebody's going to listen to this person. I mean, it's ridiculous. And only EFAP will be able to get 2 hours out of a 5-minute and 57-second video.
I got within the first few hours, I've been sent it over 20 times. I was like, we're gonna cover it. We're gonna cover it.
Oh, we gotta cover that. Yes, you got to. And I want to see this.
Rags has been talking to me. He's like, this is this video I got sent. I was like, I know what it is. Like, I already know. We'll cover it.
Oh,
but
man.
My God, yeah. And I've already downloaded it because I was like, I have a feeling these are people that will go, oh, this was a mistake. We'll see.
Yes.
They did not think this one through. Like the idea that you play video games, and if they say at one point, if the video game isn't explicit that what you're doing is a bad thing, then they'll normalize it. And I was just like, what nonsense.
That must mean the History Channel has been normalizing Nazis for years.
People are making loads of comparisons, dude. Like any fiction, if you play as like orcs or the Empire or something like, they're normalizing them quickly. You got to make sure you have this big. Funnily enough, the Star Wars Battlefront 2 classic game, the campaign was largely about sort of humanizing the clones. You played as the clones throughout a lot of missions that go on throughout the movies. And you just get their take on everything. They even like regretfully talk about having to kill all the Jedi during Order 66. It's like really interesting. And I can picture this guy being like, you're normalizing the Empire.
Which in turn is normalizing Nazis. Oh my God. Yeah, that's I can't wait to watch that. One of these days when I have my software ready, I'll be able to show videos once I get my new machine. Being less boomer.
You can run your own EFAPs.
No, there's only one EFAP, my friend. I'll do it in little parts, but I could never dream to do what you guys do. Again, I look forward to you guys making a 5-minute video into a 2-hour video. That'll be epic.
We wouldn't
on
be
a grand
fast.
Scale. We won't be that fast. So here, I got to turn my camera on again. I don't know why, but hello, people. Let's get to, we were getting towards the end of the super chats there. And then I can talk to Mahler some more, which would be good. Yes, Disney's Mermaid. Can't wait for all it feels. Okay. Jay Louv for $2. Thank you very much for the super chat. I greatly appreciate it. At 6:06. So yeah, we're getting caught up. That's great. Thank you again. And if you got a question, put it in the chat, please, Jay. Gert Frobe, $5. They could remake Head. That was a fun and silly movie. Head. Why is that? Why is that sticking in my brain? Head is a movie. It's the Monkeys. That's right. I'm like, why is that sticking in my head? Yes, that's the Monkeys movie. Which, yes, they could. I don't know why they would, because Head was so genius, Gert. Nicholas Horton, £2. Bond 25 has had a lot of production problems. More than, I'm surprised it's even getting made. And now they have an actor in dictating what he's not going to play, which is pretty funny. Modalacious, $2. Jason Statham is not my Meteor Man. Yeah, I want Jason Statham to play Meteor Man. That needs to happen now. Modalicious, it does. All Out of Bubblegum, $10. You want demons to come into this world? Well, opening a portal to another universe will get you demons. Of course, with Hollywood acting like it is, they are already here. Yes, they might just get sucked back into their dimension. I think if she opens up the portal, we might be light on some writers and some actors.
Potential plus.
Yes. And the final super chat, Sir Ruin, who again, the first super chat and the last super chat. Sir Ruin of House Roundhead, $5. Mahler, I appreciate you not rushing things, unlike some Game of Thrones writers. Also, watch Game of Thrones written by AI by College Humor.
I think I've seen that one. I was just going to say in relation to that, right? I've been getting more and more, with EFAP being that we point out, like, when people flub a word, we'll pick up on it and have some fun with it in a playful way. We're not trying to like, because we do it, but then editing choices that are a bit weird, or when they put music on too loud, or they have clips that are not relevant, I'm like hyper aware of that in my videos now. So for example, at the beginning of episode 5, so I was just looking through, most of the audio's done, and I was starting to apply visuals and stuff. And do you remember Varys? Here's someone coming through, and he's like, he's writing something, and so he does something with the paper. And me and Wolf, when we were watching it, we're just like, oh, how stupid! Like Varys is writing treasonous letters. He hears someone coming in, so he flips the paper upside down. You kidding me? Like you got to do more than that. And I had put that in my audio. And then as I was piecing it together, he doesn't flip it upside down. He puts a different piece of paper on top of it. It just looks like he flips it upside down. And I was like, I can leave that. And then in my head, I was like, no, you can't. Yep. I was like, God damn it. I had to re-record it, make sure I say it right. And I was just like, yeah, it's, I know people might be like, oh, see, you're stifling yourself. You're making it take longer for yourself. And I was like, well, the whole point of my videos is they're supposed to, kind of try and set examples on accuracy now. So if I'm not going to put the effort in to correct my own mistakes when I find them, then why would I advocate so hard for that sort of process?
Exactly. And I so know where you come from. And listen, I make tons of mistakes in my videos and I let a bunch go because I just don't have the time. But yeah, I had to, my last Game of Thrones video, I had to recut half of it because I got one thing wrong in there. I'm like, and then I ran with it the whole, I'm like, oh, damn it. But this is why it's good to run things by people.
There was this big thing. There was like this selection of criticisms for me on a subreddit, and one of them said, claims to be objective and accurate, and yet he makes mistakes like, and they listed 3, and it was the same 3 that I listed in my video talking about how I make mistakes. And I thought I was just interested by that. I was like, see, there are people out there who will actually use it against me that I make any mistakes whatsoever. And I was like, it wasn't very fresh. I was like, you could have found your own mistakes instead of just using the ones that I pointed out to prove that I'm not perfect either. I was like, you could have tried a bit harder than that, but okay.
But I don't, this is the way I watch your videos is it's not like they need to get every detail right. It's just showing the glaring holes of continuity that are in so many films. And maybe you'll shame some of these people into writing more cohesively. And this is the problem. This is stemming from the writers' room. They have writers' rooms for films now. Did you see you saw how many writers were on Captain Marvel? It's impossible to keep track, and it's because everything has become such a widget and such a product, and it's not art anymore.
You got to make sure everything is just the way it's supposed to be. Then when it fails, they're like, what the hell? Why didn't this work perfectly? Like we had in our spreadsheets explaining that it should have.
Yep. Mr. Roboto, $2. Problem with Black Buffy is more lazy than politics. It is. And why does it have to be Black Buffy? Why couldn't it be, new
character,
Pakistani, or just or how about a dude? How about Buffy be a dude? Why not?
No,
just kidding.
See, it's funny that would actually annoy the crap out of me, but I'm just like, fuck, that would really piss him off, surely.
I think it's time for male Charlie's Angels. I do. It's time. I'm waiting for that article. It's time.
We need a male Wonder Woman. It's time.
It's time. It's time.
We've had so many Wonder Women. I think it's time for Wonder Man.
There is a Wonder Man in the Marvel universe. And have you seen Spider-Man Far From Home?
Yes.
Okay, you don't have to talk about it. If you want to save it for your content, I understand. I just
I can be vague. I mean, you're talking to the guy who has to regularly defend Homecoming from people
like
lot.
Me.
That might have happened. Yeah, I can't remember.
So what'd you think? Just yes or no?
I liked it. Yes.
Okay.
But
I gave it like a 7 out of 10. So
honestly, I don't think I'd be too far away from that. Maybe. I think I could be talked down. I was pretty happy with it, but I think like one of my friends said it was okay, and I was surprised because he's a big fan of Homecoming. So I was like, oh, there may be something I'm missing, but I thought it was pretty strong. Funnily enough, Sunday we're going to be talking about it, obviously, and I asked Wolf and Rags to watch Homecoming ahead of time as well, just to make sure it's all fresh. And so I ended up watching Homecoming today with Rags, and I still think that movie's really strong. But the conversation I'm always more interested in is the idea of it being a story that's told rather than an adaptation, because I got no reference. I never read the comics, So I can't even. If you told me Spider-Man is supposed to be Portuguese, I'd be like, "Oh, is he? I didn't know that." Or like the only reason I know he's from Queens is like because I've heard him say that, like in the movies. That's it.
And that's where my main problem is, and I don't think I'll ever be able to let that go. As I'm just staunch comic book purist, and Homecoming violates so many of the rules of set down by Spider-Man, even in some of the films. Now, what I found with Homecoming is I saw it, and after I got out of it, I'm like, oh, that was better than Homecoming. That was pretty good. But when I slept on it and did the second part of my video, I found I just thought about a bunch of glaring holes. And again, you don't have to go into them, but the way they dealt with the snap, there's a bunch of continuity things that are probably going to be more problems in the future than they were in this particular movie. And I'm curious to see how they deal with them.
I actually think that we just got that's the best we're going to get for dealing with the snap, because the MCU is not prepared for dealing with what the snap would actually do to a real world. It's part of why when I found out that they were going to own the 5 years, they were going to keep them, I was like, oh, you're not going to undo it all? Do you understand what happens when you do that? It's like this world, if you take away, the idea that you have, like, let's just simplify it, 100 people live on planet Earth, you cut them in half, it's like, oh, you only lost 50%. It's like, no, you're going to kill at least an additional, like, 20% probably.
Yep.
Once those 5 years pass. And they ain't coming back.
There's therapy involved. There's they talked about it in the film. Sorry, brief spoiler. Aunt May is like somebody else moved into her apartment. That's interesting stuff. And yeah, they didn't think it through. They just thought it would be a good idea for Endgame, and they weren't really too concerned about how other people are, or they were just like, other people are going to have to deal with it. I don't have to deal with it. And that's
I don't think any of them will. I think that even in Doctor Strange and Captain Marvel 2, they'll just be small references to how, oh yeah, that was an annoying thing that we did. Moving on. It's just like,
And they're one out. They had one out, which I will not discuss, and they're not going to use it, at least right now, which is yeah.
What is it?
Well, okay, everybody plug your ears. If you haven't seen Spider-Man Far From Home, I'm going to speak of a spoiler for the next minute or two. All right, so just be ready. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So, the multiverse.
Right.
Yeah, so the multiverse is, I think it's still a thing. I think they're certainly going to introduce it, but it's not a thing. And
do you think they're going to, how would that fix the blip? Do you imagine that they would have had resources pooled in from another universe or something like that? Or?
Yeah, they could have found out that the blip, like they could have done fun things, like some people blipped back into another universe and it just looks slightly like this one. And that could explain a ton of stuff. It might create more problems too, but it also could explain the Fantastic Four coming in and the X-Men coming in. So I fully believe they will use the multiverse at some point. But I don't think it actually makes sense that they didn't introduce it in Spider-Man because it's Sony film.
And I was going to say, as much as I did enjoy Endgame, the MCU is kind of fucked because they've introduced this thing where you can just time travel, collect the stones, and use them to defeat whatever bad thing happens. Like, why wouldn't they just do that every time now, especially with Captain Marvel there?
Yeah.
And the stakes for me are kind of ruined for any film that happens, other than small-scale ones. Only small-scale films can now have drama for me, because if you have some crazy thing happen, it's like, hey guys, maybe we should go back in time and fucking grab the gauntlet from ourselves when we used it and say, hey, we need this, we'll give it right back because, you guys did it with other universes, so you can trust us. Like, when Cap has his briefcase, be like, oh, Cap, hang on, just stand there, we will come back, we just need that for a sec. He's like, okay.
No, they're gonna, these stakes are going to have to go crazy, and they're going to use those in the Eternals. So the only other big bad that they have outside of Thanos that they could bring in that could outdo Thanos
Galactus
is Galactus. And, Galactus isn't evil.
What is his power? Is he, because he eats planets, right?
Yeah, he survives off of planets. He sends the Herald. He has got the power cosmic. He's a Titan. And the Celestials are more powerful. And they can use the Celestials as bad guys, I guess. But like Galactus he's a shark. I mean, he's not evil. He just does his job. And his job is eating planets, and he actually serves a purpose in the universe. He keeps the universe clean. So it makes sense. Deadpool can fix it. You're right, Perth Comics. I think they can. Annihilus is is a good villain too. I don't know. Yeah, Annihilus. They would have to do the problem with Annihilus, Nicholas, is I would accept not Annihilus, but that is a tough sell. They would have to fundamentally change his look. Because he, I'll show you what, for those of you who don't know what Annihilus looks like, I'll show you.
Targa Jedi said, stones are destroyed. Time travel rips apart the universe. It was explained in Endgame. Do they say anything in Endgame about how they can never use time travel again?
They didn't say they couldn't use it again. They just said everything had to be put back. Okay, yeah. So the stones are destroyed, but they can't be destroyed, or they wouldn't have been able to go back.
But it doesn't matter anyway, because you can just get more stones of time travel. That's my problem, pretty much.
All somebody has to do is figure out another mode of time travel. That's it. But this is Annihilus, folks. So again, I totally accept Annihilus because I'm a comic book fan. But they would have to fundamentally change his look, and yeah, he's powerful as hell, and there's a great storyline they could adapt to make it good. But I don't know, man.
But yeah, I was expecting them to be like, we need to destroy this time travel technology. They'd be like, why? Like, because we can't let it fall into the wrong hands. So they destroy it.
Yeah, because it never will.
Yeah, I'd be like, well, that was shit. But fine. But they don't even do that. They're just like, yeah, we have it. We can use it.
Yeah. Mephisto. There you go, Proto Man. I knew it. See, I'm getting late in my live stream. Mephisto would be the perfect bad guy. I think the only reason they wouldn't use Mephisto is the Chinese rules, which I'm very vague on, but they can't show like demons or dead people in China. So that's why they're probably going to keep most of the horror elements from Marvel on television and not mass. Apparently their magic is a rule too, but they got away with Doctor Strange. So I guess it really depends. Mephisto would be a great bad guy.
I wouldn't have thought they'd want to do demons or hell or anything like that, or things that are close to it.
Yeah,
I would have thought they'd want to be like, better stay away from
that. Mephisto.
I remember him from Marvel Ultimate Alliance, and I was like, man, I've never heard of this thing before. This is cool.
How can anyone not know Annihilus? Annihilation was a great comic event. Cleveland Brown, it was one of the best. I would say it was better than Civil War, and it came out right around the same time. I liked it. I enjoyed it way more than I enjoyed Civil War, but a lot of normies have no idea who Annihilus is. A lot. I would say the vast majority of normies have never heard of them. Actually, a lot of them probably haven't, don't really know all of the Fantastic Four. Don't underestimate the ability of normies not to know things. I can't tell you how many people walked into my comic shop with an amazed look on their face. And they went, I didn't know they still made comics anymore. I mean, that happened once a week. So, yeah, Mephisto sounds like a porn name. Bow, chicka, wow, wow.
Do you reckon they'll do Civil War 2 in the movies at all?
They might. That's something I was thinking about with the Captain Marvel being in 5 more films. But that would require them to write Captain Marvel with some complexity.
Right.
Do you see Captain Marvel arguing with any other superheroes? Well, maybe with male superheroes, but not with female.
Only if they're wrong.
Which is all the time.
And I mean, like, they'd have to be demonstrably wrong. We get a Civil War where, Iron Man would have been like, we should kill innocent people. And Steve's like, we shouldn't. And it would just be that simple. And obviously she would be on the correct side, and then we'd all root for her, and then she would have to fight against everyone being wrong, and she would eventually win, and everyone would be like, thank God we got you.
Yes. That's the power of whammon.
I mean, can Captain Marvel 2 possibly be worse than the first one? I don't know.
Probably. Oh, easily.
It can always be worse, right?
It can always be worse. My prediction is they fill her movie with other Marvel superheroes to try to keep it the focus off of her, kind of like what they did with Doctor Who. They're like, oh, we got this new female doctor, let's give her freaking 3 companions and start with 4. So I'm going through here and let's read. We got a couple more super chats and then Mrs. Nerdrotic is home, so I've got to bail. But we got to plan like a full live stream. So you can work while you're on the live stream like you do now, which is great. That shows how talented you are.
It's only visual stuff. Like if I'm trying to do audio stuff, obviously I wouldn't be able to listen to you.
You can tune me out. It's okay. Everybody else does. My wife does.
What did you think of? I mean, because you hadn't seen it for a bit. The finale of season 2 of Buffy. Upon rewatching.
I liked it even more. I love season 2. I love the early seasons. I know they're not super popular with everybody, but I freaking dig them. So
I think a lot of people like season 2 because it's the Buffy Angel breakdown and introducing Spike. There's a lot of really good stuff in there.
Well, I love in the beginning of season 2 how it almost maybe they planned it this way, but the anointed one just gets dispatched, and you could tell that the writers are like, "Thank God we can get rid of this kid now."
I see it as the symbolic transfer of they were like, okay, let's have a werewolf episode, let's have a witch episode, let's have a Frankenstein episode, because they have like the guy who's made of pieces trying to make a Frankenstein's bride. There's an episode like that. I think that's season 2, isn't it?
Yes, it is. Yes.
So you could see like all these ideas where they're like mythological beast, let's go, and then it's like, hey, character episode, and it's like, man, these character episodes are way better than our random mythological ones. And it's like, who's the anointed one again? It's like, oh, it's creepy kid trope. And you're like, can we just kill him? It's like, have our new vampire character who's killed 2 slayers, who's British, who's got a connection to Angel. It's a really interesting character. Have him kill him. Fuck it.
Yeah, and that was like that was your
great.
first taste of like a Whedonism trope where he like kind of subverts he'll do the tropey thing and then kill that person immediately just out of nowhere. And they weren't doing that in TV back then. That was like really new and strange. And then,
you subvert your expectations throughout it. It's like, it's almost a dirty word now, thanks to Rian Johnson.
And I know it is, God, he did it so well with Angel. You got this, you built up this hero, this guy on this redemption arc, and then he gets happy and reverts right back to being Angelus. And then all of a sudden they're fighting him, and it's so good. It's so good.
And when he kills Calendar, that's when you're like, well, there's no coming back from that. He's evil. He's done.
And that was back when they weren't doing that either, to kill a main character that they introduced. Although, I mean, upon rewatching it, and I've rewatched it a lot, you're just like, oh, they were so setting us up with her. She was, Miss Calendar was,
especially with they reconcile the same episode. She's taken away. That happens again with 2 other very significant characters in season 6.
It wasn't. I don't know if they actually did this, but there was not an urban legend, but like if some new star who'd been on for a while finally got their name in the opening credits, that means they were going to die. That means they were going to die that episode, or leave that episode.
I didn't know that was the case, but that is what happens with someone in season 6. Yep. It's so cruel.
Yeah, so cruel. Season 6. That's one I'm rewatching with Mrs. Neurotic. She's like, I don't want to rewatch season 6. I'm like, you gotta. I love season 6.
It's a tough season.
Yeah.
Everybody's upset. Everybody's dealing with the sort of collective issues. Though I have to say, Willow is so well plotted in the whole show from seasons 1 through 7. It's a little bit shaky. Seasons 1 through 6 are almost pitch perfect. She gradually gains confidence. Her intelligence makes her feel arrogant to the point of making decisions for other people, using magic to fix the world to her liking rather than for the better. And she doesn't take dissent well, nor does she take losing things well. And she's like the most innocent and happy one of them all, and the show slowly breaks her down. It's fantastic.
It is. It shows in a very interesting way, again, in a time when they weren't doing it, magic with consequences and being basically superheroes with consequences, and how it breaks you down. And that really is, I think, a part of the hero's journey that we're losing because they're not telling the story anymore, is the sacrifice of the hero. Like, they don't get a happy ending. They don't, but they're still our heroes. Let's get to a couple of more super chats here. Oh man, we got a lot more. But we got a new one. I want to read this new one because it's a shout out to you, my friend. Michael Canal for $9.99 just joined, got stuck at work in traffic. Mahler, and this is all caps. Mahler, I've been listening to your Last Jedi episodes all day. Bravo, sir. Required canon listening for any true fan.
Well, thank you. I love it when any of my videos can provide that level of entertainment, getting through long drives or hard days at work. But God, yeah, those were made with the fuel of anger pretty much entirely. The Last Jedi was a disaster. But it's funny how we've come so far since then, and there's so many more stories of so many more disastrous properties doing things. It's wasn't the first, wasn't the last, you know.
Nope. But it's the one that had probably, well, the most, not probably, the most impact. That's the one that really hit
I
people
think
in the
so.
gut.
Oh, it was funny. I felt like people were much more open to discussing how Game of Thrones just had piss poor writing thanks to TLJ. It's like that was the blow that got everyone talking about how, like, is there such a thing as bad writing? Can writers fuck up? And it's like, yes, they can. And thankfully, the Game of Thrones creators showed us how much they didn't know about their own show in several interviews. It was great.
Yeah, it was like how much they were relying on other people, and the jig was up, man.
Did you see the clip where someone asks them who their favorite non-POV character is to write for, and they say Sam, and then the actor for Sam and Kit are both there, and they're like, and he's like, what? And they're like, he is POV.
Yeah.
Like, and they're like, he is POV? And they're like, yeah. And he's like, no, he's not. They're like, yeah, book 3, Sam's POV.
I did not see that. You are kidding me.
Yeah,
I
it's
would have
really
made a
embarrassing.
video about that. Oh my God. Because I caught them on one when they were talking about Jenny of Old Stones, and yeah, Dan was talking about it and said, oh, I think it's in the book. I'm all, what do you mean you think it's in the book? It's in the damn book.
Yeah, they didn't know Sam was a POV character.
Oh my God, that is...
It's you can find it probably just by YouTube searching that, but if not, just let me know and I'll try and find it for you.
Oh, please do. That is...
yeah, watching it is cringeworthy. Even the audience start laughing, and it's just like, guys, no, like stop fucking up so miserably.
I can understand brain farting, but that's too much. You should it's not like there's that many POV characters. There's the outside ones that are in the epilogues and the prologues, and everyone in the epilogue dies, and I think everyone in the prologue dies as well. So yeah, I'm pretty sure everyone in the prologue dies as well. And then you have your side ones that
I mean, I think it's fair for a lot of people to get things like this, but it's like they're the guys who are writing the show. They're supposed to be paying attention to the books. The books are supposed to be the holy grail to them.
Supposedly. I've started reading this season 8 comics of Buffy. Is that the only season written by Whedon? If so, are there others worth reading? He still, oh man, I got to get this name out. Hosenato Italia for Australian, $7.99. He wrote season 9, I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure he wrote season 9. Now, Brian K. Vaughan wrote parts of season 8 because they switched, and Joss Whedon wrote, I think, an X-Men book at the time, and something for he wrote something for Brian K. Vaughan. Was it Runaways? I think it was Runaways, and it wasn't good. But yeah, I think he writes 8 and 9. I'm pretty sure. It's been a while since I read them. If you haven't seen I, Claudia, oh, by the way, thank you again. Hosena to Italia. Mr. Napsky for $5. If you haven't seen I, Claudius, if not, please watch it. It's amazing 12-part miniseries. I have not seen it.
No,
I will check it out. Joan of Arc 33, $19.99. Thank you, Joan of Arc. What did you think of Good Omens? I think they dropped the ball and ruined the story. Wasted good actors. Good Omens was a great performance by Michael Sheen and David Tennant in an imperfect story, I will say. Ruined by some weird changes from the book.
Yeah, I wasn't necessarily. I thought it was fine, and obviously I haven't read the source, but I just thought that the story itself was just okay. But it wasn't, which isn't great. you prefer to have a story that you'd be like, oh yeah, that was something awesome to watch. But
I would definitely watch it again because of David Tennant. I mean, he
they were the reason I was watching it. Those two, and for example, like the Four Horsemen almost seemed pointless in the show.
Yeah, they were not well done.
The Devil Kids scenes were also very awkward. But yeah, everything with David Tennant was awesome.
Jay Louvre for $5. One origin of entertainment death today comes from Mount St. Mary's College Gina Davis Institute on Gender in Media and the C. Jane Run Project. that might be part of the Me Too documentary that I was showing on yesterday's live stream, which where they admit at the very beginning of the trailer they are using media to shape minds, which is no secret. I mean, they just come out and say it now. Hiroshi score for 20 Mexican dollars. Maybe Kang the Conqueror using time travel. That would be my guess. If they want to use time travel, they can always bring in Kang. And yes, that would be interesting. And you can introduce the Young Avengers, and that'd be kind of fun. Matt Joseph, $5. I still believe the recent Secret Wars storyline in Marvel's next arc. All multiverses folding in on each other with Doom as the villain at the end. And the Russo brothers saying that the only movie they would come back to direct for the MCU is Secret Wars, but I think they were talking about the original one with the Beyonder, but you never know. You never know. Nicholas Horton, £5 again for a good Galactus arc in the MCU, build up to the story over several years. And we don't want Storm Cloud Galactus. No. And you adapt, Fantastic Four, the first appearance of the Silver Surfer, and it's like 48, 49, 50. And Technocratic Concentration Camp, Australian $14.99. In my opinion, the only person who has enough charisma to replace Iron Man in the MCU for the next 10 years is Ryan Reynolds as Deadpool. Could this actually happen? No. And that's what I always said. The person prior to them casting Brie Larson, I said it was very important because Captain Marvel's a not loved character that they need to cast the female Robert Downey Jr. and they just flat out didn't do that. They cast the anti. Yes, the opposite. Death of Star Wars, $2. Why did Peter call Carol Captain Marvel? That's a good question. And then Nick Fury said, "Do not invoke her name."
Oh, I guess he would have been told about her at that point.
Yep.
I don't know what he meant by "don't invoke her name." I guess it
has something to do with the post-credit scene.
But he's just kidding, right? Like he's not.
Yeah, I would hope so. That we're not
nothing to do with
her
actually invoking her name.
Deity. Yeah, but that's how Marvel's treating her. So Anthony Zappin, $2. Check out Sunday's Coast to Coast redisclosure. I did, Anthony. It was really good. Thank you. So we will end it there. I must go because I hear my lovely wife is home. But my friend, thank you for coming on. I love when you come on and improve my live streams greatly.
Possible, Gary, these live streams are perfect themselves.
Thanks, man. Hardly, but I want to thank my wrenches. Mary Ashmead, it's good to see you. Tarka Jedi, it has been so long. Where have you been? But welcome back, my friend. Mark Lazurth, great job. Christy Miller, the Cinema Queen, who I'm not sure is here. Chris Persia, the DJ D Show, and I go up even further, and I don't know who else is here. But thank you to the wrenches. You guys are brilliant. Thank you for always helping me out. Thanks everybody for joining us today. I had a great time, and it's always fun talking to Mahler. And soon we will have an all Buffy live stream someday, very soon, because we love Buffy. And my next live stream will be Friday night, and we will talk about a lot of the stuff I didn't talk about today, like Lord of the Rings and Game of Thrones prequels. Because we're getting a lot more information on that, as well as other things. There's some Doctor Who news coming, and getting ready for Comic-Con. We are definitely getting ready for Comic-Con. But thank you, Freckhoff. I love you too. And we love Mahler. And Mahler, so you're still working on your video? And if you have not subscribed to Mahler, if one of my fine wrenches could put Mahler's channel in, please subscribe to Mahler. I
got some mileage out of the kind of forgot clip. It's going to be
good
in this video a few more than once.
Yes, it needs to be. And I was hoping you would. But now I'm curious about them forgetting about Sam being a POV. That is beautiful. That is content for tomorrow. So yeah, I've already shot my videos for tomorrow, but I will not be live on either channel. I know I just did that, but it's Mrs. Nerdrotic's off tomorrow, so I'm going to hang out with the family, and then I'll be back in force on Friday.
Sounds wonderful.
All right, man. When's the next DFAP?
Sunday.
Sunday, Sunday, Sunday. All right. Again, thank you, everybody. Remember, we don't kneel around here, and I'll say goodbye on the camera, by the way. And may the free folk sing songs of your greatness.